Okay, let's start. We got our work cut out for us. We got our work cut out for us. And we need to start on the double. Oh shit. Sorry. Hi. We're playing Shibuya again. Yeah. Let's go. Last time we got a bad end with what the fuck was happening here? Oh, she went to get ice cream or something? I don't know, man. Where did we leave off? I don't know what this is. That's Kanan. Why did this happen? When she was cornered in the alley by the man with the cane, there's someone who could have turned up and helped her out. Yanagi. But he can't do that if he ends up getting tied up at the knick-knack shop. He's tied up somewhere. This looks new. I thought I did that one. The mastermind. Looking for a way out. What the hell was this? Oh my god, I'm forgetting everything already. Itomi captured. Let's do this, I guess. I thought I did already, but do it again. It's Kanan! No, hold on. Where are we? What's going on here? Let's go from... These all look different. Tell me captured. Losing sight. Distant, it told me. It wasn't actually her, that was Maria. Oh my god. I'm so lost. I gotta start playing these games like... I gotta play this game every day because I forget everything that happens when I step away for like a week. We're gonna go back here, sorry. I don't remember what was going on here. Maybe it'll come to me as I do it. I'm not gonna lower for you. Time to give him an angry spot in the chest for me. What are you talking about? You weren't waiting where you said you'd be. Went to another floor. What do you mean? Second floor, what are you talking about? Oh, right, and then the guys show up. He fights them. Alright. Or is that before? Yeah, that was before, I guess. Alright, sorry. Let's just start here. His brain was scrambled. This seems kind of familiar. Try to other stuff. Your clothes look good. Thank you. Why are you looking at me like that? Are you making fun if you told me smile? Look at her. She's so precious. Magazine, blah, blah, blah. Gotta find that again. Oh, right. And then he's like, oh my god, she recycles? I love her. They're totally gonna get together. Mama? Oh, okay. I remember now. And then the old guy comes out, right? scratched off. Okay, we've been through this. We've been through that. What is this? Gigo sealed up. Oh, right, and they're running from the guy with the gun. Yeah, and I guess Kanan saved them somehow? Where'd she come from? Back entrance was a no-go. Blah, 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 blah. Everything's closed. Enemy Kanan. And he gets distracted because I think Maria was fighting the Yakuza guys. Sumimasen! Shirishimasu! She's staying on the escalator. Okay, it's coming back to me. It's coming back to me. I'm recalling. What I should really do is I shouldn't start doing like branches like I do every single time. Every time there's a new like time block, I do one piece of the branch and then I leave the rest for next time. And then the next time I play the game, which is like a week after, I forget everything. So I should just leave it this time after we get done. Even if it is enticing. They must have cut the assassin's eye. There's a chance to escape, and yeah, they got out. We started following Maria. Got the wrong sister. Keep your eyes open. Oh, here we go. It's Kanan. Keep your eyes open, rookie. When I was 5 years old, I held a gun for the very first time. Yeah, okay. Here we go. Start explaining, Kanan. Explain everything to me. Like I'm 5. Kanan led them into a narrow back alley. What is that? There are ghosts there, maybe? The moment she stopped, Hitomi spoke up. Why was my sister kidnapped? Before I answer that, there's something I need to tell you, Kanan said. Her tone was cold and sharp. I've come to Japan because I'm on a mission. I'm not at liberty to discuss all the details. Alright. Hitomi gave a slight nod. To answer your question, Maria was kidnapped by mistake. What? Hitomi gasped. But why? Because this kidnapper isn't after Maria. They're after you. Who's after me? The mastermind behind this whole thing, Kanan said. Her tone was matter-of-fact. Whoa, hold on, Hachi interrupted. What do they want Hitomi for? That I cannot say. Well then, who is this person? I can't tell you that either. You see, their sex, nationality, age, appearance, just about everything about them is shrouded in mystery. So there's honestly not much I can tell you. Hachi and Hitomi stood dumbfounded. What gives, Hachi said. So you're saying all you know is that this person has some name like Mastermind? Hitomi turned to whisper in his ear. Mastermind isn't actually their name. Mastermind, originally used solely to refer to someone of remarkable intellect, the term first took on its criminal connotations in the 19th century. I'm here, Kanan spat, because I'm looking for revenge. Revenge? Hitomi asked. What for? This person also killed my friend. Are you talking about Maria? Kanan's inscrutable eyes flashed with a threatening gleam. Has he got rid of her memories or gave amnesia? Earlier you said it was your fault my sister got kidnapped, Hitomi said. Kanan cast her eyes down. 4 days ago, I managed to learn about this criminal's plan. So I got in touch with Maria and told her that you were going to be attacked at that party. So that's why she told me not to go. Hitomi's voice trembled as she spoke. I gave Maria a small GPS. What is that? Global positioning system. Ow. Alright, it's loud. But I guess you never got it. Hitomi shook her head. I see. She must still have it then. Wait, so then, my sister... The color drained from Hitomi's face as she understood. Yes, Kanan replied. Maria acted as a decoy and let herself get kidnapped in your stead. Hitomi swayed on her feet, shocked to the verge of fainting. Achi hurriedly reached out and caught her in his arms. But... Wait, he said to Kanan as he held Hitomi up. I don't get that either. Why didn't neither of them go? Or neither of them go? Then nobody would have been kidnapped, right? I mean, why did her sister need to go and act as a decoy? Kanan let out a tiny sigh. If she hadn't gone to the party, the kidnappers would have just found some other opportunity to come after her. Oh, okay. Achi nodded. That sorta makes sense. I'm betting that Maria's plan was to use the GPS to lead me to these guys' hideout. She wanted to keep her sister safe, and also figured she could help me with my mission. It's the sort of scheme she'd think of. So then you can't use the GPS to locate Hitomi's sister? Achi asked. Kanan shook her head. The GPS hasn't been powered on since she was kidnapped. It's possible the kidnappers took it from her. Wait, what? So after all that, even you can't find Maria? Achi slumped his shoulders in disappointment. I didn't say that. What do you mean? I got some intel from those syndicate members we met earlier. Apparently, sometime this morning they put Maria into a blue minivan. And since then, they've been moving her, they've been moving her all around Shibuya, and they've been scrambling. Achi and Hitomi exchanged glances at the mention of the blue minivan. Unfortunately, Kanan continued, those operatives didn't know what the current situation was exactly. So we're back to the blue van then. Achi hurriedly explained what they'd been through so far. He mentioned how they'd first seen the blue van where the kidnappers had told Hitomi to find it. He also described how first the man with the cane and then a host of others had come after them. He got a little sidetracked here and there, but Kanan quietly listened to the end. I see, she muttered. So then, what do you think? Achi asked. Seems like we messed up their scheme a little, huh? We scrambled them? Whatever the case, this man with the cane concerns me, Kanan said. I doubt he's working with the others. I don't know what that means. Maybe that's it. Some guy who isn't involved butts in and it throws off their whole plan. Kanan nodded in agreement. Because you and that man with the cane showed up, she said. They couldn't leave the minivan where it was. They took a sensible precaution. But then if you think about it, isn't this an opportunity for us to turn the tables on Mr. Mastermind? Kanan flashed him a faint, speculative smile. I wonder about that. Ah, come on, Achi grumbled. You're such a buzzkill. Any well-made plan has a good, solid outline, which means that even after it has come to fruition, it's easy to trace things back to the planner. Is that how that works? By contrast, if you achieve your goals using accidental means, the outline becomes blurred, and it makes it harder for anyone outside looking in to grasp what the actual plan is. Achi swallowed hard as he took in the gravity of the situation. Well, but I mean, like, if there's an accident, people are gonna for sure panic, plan or not. The corners of Kanan's lips curled up. Typically, I suppose, she said. But the people who are after Hitomi, not only have they put together a perfect plan, they've purposely left certain tiny holes in it. And so we can't even figure out who they are. The outline of the plan is always too blurry. Achi had no response to that. It was like he was hearing about some completely different world beyond the one he knew. If what Kanan had said was true, he'd been dealing with opponents that were on a level way above his own. In any event, since these people are after you, it'd be best if you didn't wander around town anymore, Kanan told him. By now, Hitomi had recovered. She stood up straight and shook her head. No, I'm going to find that blue minivan. My sister is in danger because of me. I can't abandon her just to save myself. Yeah, that's right. Hachi patted Hitomi on the back. If that's what you're gonna do, then I don't care who we're up against. I'm with you in this until the end. Heck, it's too late for me to back out now. That ship has already failed. Hitomi giggled despite herself. It's already sailed, Hachi. Yeah. Kanan let out another little sigh. I'm gonna turn my back on you. In a cool way. Alright, just make sure you're extra careful, she said. You can't count on getting bailed out of trouble just like you have before. I understand, Hitomi said. Her eyes showed no trace of doubt or fear. She's growing as a person. Kanan gave her a slight nod, then quickly disappeared down the alleyway. Right then, Hachi said. Want to get back to looking for that minivan? Then he stopped, remembering their previous efforts. If they just heedlessly wandered around town, they'd probably end up in the same trouble they'd encountered before. They'd get chased by the man with the cane, or by the kidnappers, and their search would be interrupted yet again. What should they do then? There had to be a better way. Hachi happened to glance upward and caught sight of a surveillance camera installed on one of the streetlights. That's it! Can't believe I didn't think of it before. Hitomi peered at him, startled by his sudden shouting. We just need to use my old man's surveillance cameras and this'll be a breeze. Hachi took Hitomi by the hand and started running. His destination? The security camera monitoring room in Dogenzaka. Hachi didn't slow his pace until they were nearing their destination. Then he turned to look back at Hitomi. He was about to ask if she was doing all right when someone close at hand called out to him. Oh my god. Hey, mind if I ask you something? Have you ever heard of SOS? Hachi stopped in his tracks as a stranger stepped in front of him. The guy looked too old to be picking a fight with SOS. Hachi regarded him with suspicion. Yeah, why do you ask? Do you happen to be a member yourself? No, not anymore. The man's eyes flashed with a gleam of recognition. Did this guy know who he was? With a broad grin, the stranger took a step closer. Hachi's heart sank. He couldn't afford to get caught up in some new hassle right now. Hitomi flashed him a worried look. Let's go. Hachi and Hitomi dodged past the man and hurried onward. Even if the guy was harmless, they needed to be on their guard. There was no telling just how many thugs and assassins were looking for Hitomi. I'm surprised you let him get away. Rather than head directly for the surveillance building, Hachi decided he better make sure the stranger wasn't up to something. Hitomi followed as he slipped quickly into a back alley. There was no indication that the man was following them. What was that guy's deal? Hitomi asked. No idea. But he sure seemed kind of fishy. Doesn't look like he's coming after us, though. They took a quick detour through another seedy back alley. Then, as they were starting to head toward their original destination, Hachi felt a sudden searing pain in his back. What the fuck? Ugh. Glancing over his shoulder, he discovered that one of the foreign syndicate members had crept up and struck him from behind. Oh no, I've been stabbed. Ah! Hitomi screamed. Another man had suddenly appeared, grabbing her by the arms. Hitomi. Hachi tried to reach out to her, but his arm was leaden. His body refused to obey his commands. Oh my god, he really got stabbed. That's not ketchup. As the attacker wrenched the knife from his back, Hachi felt the blood gushing out of his wound. The two men started to drag... Okay, this is... bad end. We get it. Damn it. He tried to pursue them, but his legs faltered and couldn't find their footing. He was losing blood so fast he was starting to fade from consciousness. Hachi could only watch, impotently, as Hitomi was dragged further and further away. Wah, wah, wah. Okay, whatever, dude. Let's go somewhere else. Clearly. How about we hang out with Kano? Kano practically dived from the car when it arrived on the scene in Maruyamacho. The place was teeming with officers and onlookers alike. Out of the way. Please move aside. Kano forced his way through the throng. Sasayama was lying in a massive pool of blood. Oh yeah, I forgot. Sasayama! Kano rushed to his partner's side. The knife was still embedded deep in Sasayama's belly. Its handle shuddered each time he drew a labored breath. Guess I messed up. Sasayama could only manage a raspy murmur. Please, don't try to talk, Kano urged. Looks like I won't be celebrating the missus's birthday. Sasayama drew a small package from his pocket. It had been neatly wrapped and fitted with a pretty little ribbon. Here, give this to Michan for me. Kano shook his head. No way, Sonna. You can give it to her yourself. You've never met Michan, huh? She's real pretty. Probably surprised how pretty she... I know. You've told me all about her. Kano, please, give this to my wife. For me. Mustering up the last of his strength, Sasayama pressed the gift into... He might actually be dead. I just realized. Pressed the gift into Kano's hand. Did he really... Sasayama? No way. Sasayama's hand dropped back down into the puddle of blood. A paramedic team finally arrived at the scene. Yeah, he's dead. Sorry. As Sasayama was loaded into the ambulance, Kano felt a surge of rage roiling inside him. Clenching his fist so hard his nails dug into his palm, he marched over to the captive Al-Karawan. You son of a bitch! He wound up for a punch to Al-Karawan's face, only to have his arm caught forcibly by the elbow. Is that Stanley? Spinning his head around, he found Stanley standing there. Let go of me, Stanley. But the American had a grip of steel, and Kano's arm wouldn't budge. They allow you to assault suspects here in Japan, do they? Kano bit his lip, then lowered his shaking fist. No, of course not, he growled. Al-Karawan let out a nasal chuckle as he watched the pair. With a cold glare, Stanley strolled over to him. He leaned in close to whisper something, and all at once the blood drained from Al-Karawan's face. Visibly shaken, Al-Karawan said something back to Stanley. Stanley gave a slight nod, then left the captive with the police escort. Kano went over to him. Hey, what was that all about? Apparently, Al-Karawan gave Hitomi some instructions. Told her to get into a blue minivan that was parked along Dogonzaka. So Stanley's hunch had been correct. But why had Al-Karawan confessed so quickly? How'd you get him to talk? You don't need to know that. Turning on his heel, Stanley went to report the news about the blue van to the task force. Are they in cahoots? Kuze immediately directed the detectives nearest Dogonzaka to look into it, but they found no blue minivan in the area. The order then came down for all personnel to search for the vehicle. Kano thought back to another item in the Dick Diary. Dick Dictum number 14. Use the dead as a stepping stone, but be sure to die a stepping stone yourself. In the abstract, Kano could appreciate the nobility of self-sacrifice, but when he thought of Sasayama's blood-stained figure, it wasn't so easy to keep his emotions in check. First time you've ever seen a fellow officer get hurt. Stanley had come back over to him. We don't have time to relax. If you can't keep your anger in, then do something about it here and now. Stanley pointed to his own jaw. Hit me. American style. What? Kano smiled wryly at the unexpected proposal. Can we hit him? Yeah. Should I do it? No thanks, I'll be fine. I'm the one who deserves to get hit. Punch him. Without a word, Kano threw a punch. Stanley soaked up the rage-fueled blow, his face a mask of calm. Kano felt all the more miserable in the face of such unflinching resolve. If I weren't such a bumbling clod, Sasayama would never have... Hey, don't blame yourself, Stanley said. You guys have been doing better than I expected. More sarcasm, huh? Stanley's mouth curled up sheepishly, and he held his hands wide. Kuze's voice suddenly cut in over the wireless. We've located the blue minivan. It's in Jinan. What the fuck? Oh, Jinan Ichome? Is that a 1? That's a 1. 1 Chome on Koen Dori. Hitomi might be there, and maybe the kidnapper's ringleader would turn up too. On pure reflex, Kano broke into a run. Stanley followed close behind. They sped through the back streets, making their way toward Koen Dori. Kano was a pretty fast runner, but Stanley kept up with him without apparent difficulty. Were you in the army or something? No. Even worse, the Marines. United States Marine Corps, a rapid deployment force specializing in amphibious landing. It wasn't much further to Koen Dori. Kano, if you find that van, don't get too close, Stanley warned. It could be a trap. These people will do anything to carry out their goals. Anything, huh? Kano could sense the truth of Stanley's words. He reminded himself that his life could depend on remembering them. He raised his eyes. They were coming up on Koen Dori. Suddenly, a boom as loud as cannon fire shook the area. Something's wrong, Kano thought. That's no ordinary city noise. A column of black smoke rose up from between two nearby buildings. Passerby stopped and stared, gasping in alarm. Oh shit. Animated cutscene? Now the van blew up, right? But the animation's so good in this. Then Kano saw flames. This hadn't been an accident. Someone had set off an explosion. Several people were on the ground nearby, evidently injured by the detonation. Mr. Minorikawa! Mr. Minorikawa! A high school-aged girl was crying, clinging tightly to a man who'd been caught in the blast. Kano recognized her as the girl he talked to earlier during the traffic jam. The man looked like he might just be alive. Kano hurried over to him. Or to them. Police! He announced. Blood was streaming from the man's mouth. He clearly suffered some internal damage. Hang in there, buddy, Kano told him. Stay with us! The man's face twisted up in pain, but somehow he managed to croak out a few words. Kano let out a gasp. The man's voice was almost too weak to hear, but what he said still shook Kano to the core. This man knew something important. Something crucial to the investigation. Rescue vehicles arrived on the scene, and the wounded man was promptly loaded onto a stretcher. When he was placed inside the ambulance, Kano flashed his badge at the paramedics and got in alongside him. The man had already fallen unconscious. Kano didn't know when he'd wake back up, but he knew he needed to hear what the guy had to say. He sensed that this stranger was the key to unlocking the entire case. But though Kano kept a lonely vigil, the man never woke again. The antiviral that had been given to Hitomi, the blue minivan Al-Karawan told Hitomi to look for, and now the minivan exploding. Kano was sure this man had known how all of these tied together, but now the key to solving the case was gone for good. Womp womp. Gotta go play another route. A blown lead. Haha, funny. Get it? Because he, like, exploded? It's like a joke. Alright, then let's do Minorikawa. Wait a second. I feel like there's something I'm forgetting. Gah! Minorikawa stopped and let out a cry of frustration. Daisuke Endo had asked him for a favor after their interview was done. He promised to tell the Wandering Angels that the dry ice machine they'd purchased was defective. Well, damn. That had completely slipped his mind. If he recalled correctly, the issue was that once the machine started making dry ice, it wouldn't stop. If he ran back to the theater now, he'd lose about 10 minutes. Minorikawa checked his wristwatch. The lone people would be coming by the editing office before too long. He needed to prove to them that the next month's issue of 4-Star General Gossip was well underway, or else they'd refuse to wait any longer for repayment. And to do that, he needed to fill a minimum of 6 of the 12 remaining blank pages. He couldn't afford to waste even a single second. This was an awkward position to be in. He needed to keep his promise to Endo, but he also needed to spend his time wisely. I guess I don't have a choice. Let's be responsible. He'd agreed to take on the responsibility. He headed back for the theater. When he got there, he flagged down the first guy he saw to tell him about the dry ice machine. Hey, make sure you remember what I'm about to tell you, okay? The dry ice machine is broken. The man stared back at him blankly, but Minorikawa just forged ahead. Got it? The dry ice machine is broken. It needs to go back to the electronics store. Make sure you let the folks in charge here know. His obligation met, he hurried back to the cafe to get back to work on his copy. Along the way, he caught sight of a young couple running. They seemed like an odd pair. The girl looked prim and proper, while the boy struck him as a bit thuggish. In fact, the boy's clothing was very much in the style worn by Shibuya street gangs. Maybe he'd know something about SOS. Hurrying to cross their path, Minorikawa called out to the pair. Hey, mind if I ask you something? Have you heard of SOS? The pair stopped, eyeing him warily. The young man spoke. Yeah, why do you ask? Do you happen to be a member yourself? No, not anymore. Well, if the kid had once been part of the group, he ought to be able to provide some background anyhow. Minorikawa took a step closer to the couple, formulating his next question, but they didn't stick around to hear it. Let's go, the young man said, and a moment later, he and the girl were running away. Hey! But the pair paid him no heed. In a moment, they had vanished down an alley. The story about SOS would have to wait until later then. Minorikawa hurried into the cafe. Wasting no time, he sat right down and plugged his laptop into the nearest power outlet. He plunked himself down on the floor and hit the computer's power switch. The waitress gave him a disapproving look. Sir, I'm afraid you can't sit there. Well, it looks like your tables are full. I'll make do here. Well, being able to make do isn't really the issue. I'll have a coffee, please. Just do whatever you want. The waitress turned away and stared vacantly up at the ceiling. You know, a person can only get away with being obnoxious, or... Is he saying that? Sooner or later, someone's likely to call the police. Minorikawa looked up from his work, startled to see the burning hammer salesman standing over him. You're Mr. Yanagishita. Thank you so much for stopping by earlier. Are you going to write your article here? Yanagishita eyed Minorikawa's computer. Ooh, that's the latest model, isn't it? Look, I got no time to talk right now. Minorikawa opened the file with his half-written copy. Ooh, what's this? Chaos at bogus weight loss drink sales demo. Yanagishita read the copy aloud. The organizer, Junichi Yanagishita, didn't really have a whiff of deceit about him. His breath also stunk. Sound good? Minorikawa asked. I wanted to make sure I gave an accurate impression. Oh, I love what you've done with it. This is a great copy. Fantastic. Yanagishita turned to look at him with a manic grin. Yeah, isn't it? In a flash, Yanagishita's face went from grinning to livid. Like hell it is. You think I'm just gonna let you write something like that? Bruh. Snatching up the computer, Yanagishita bolted out of the cafe. Hey, get back here. Minorikawa leapt to his feet and rushed off in pursuit. He's running alright. As he sprinted madly along, Yanagishita turned down a narrow alley. Minorikawa stayed close behind, desperate not to lose sight of him. His quarry began to weave his way through the back alleys of Shibuya. This guy clearly knew his way around town. What if he's the mastermind? Why would it be him, though? By Miyashita Park, they zipped up onto a pedestrian bridge. Just where the heck was this idiot going? Halfway across the overpass, Yanagishita suddenly stopped. Confused, Minorikawa stopped as well. "Give that back," he called. The next moment, Yanagishita flashed a mocking grin and dangled the laptop over the railing. Uh-oh. Minorikawa lunged toward him, but it was already too late. The laptop left Yanagishita's hand and went spinning down through the air. Then, as the two men struggled, Yanagishita himself toppled over the railing. Without hesitating, Minorikawa jumped down as well. What the fuck? And they died. Or not. Minorikawa landed hard. As he struggled to regain his breath, he looked around and saw Yanagishita beside him. Incredibly, the laptop was safe in the charlatan's grasp. Apparently, he'd somehow managed to catch it in midair. Before Minorikawa could be too relieved, however, Yanagishita got to his feet and took off running again. "Get back here, you little weasel!" "I don't think so." This Yanagishita guy was infuriating. That, and he was really fast. Minorikawa considered himself a decent runner, but he couldn't manage to gain on Yanagishita. If running away was a competitive sport, the guy would be a world-class superstar. As he ran along, a peculiar thought occurred to him. Hold on a minute. If he hates my copy that much, shouldn't he have wanted my computer to break? Why'd he go out of his way to catch it like that? It made no sense at all. "Hey!" Minorikawa shouted between gasping breaths. "What are you planning to do with my laptop?" Yanagishita glanced back at him. "Gonna sell it. Sorry about this." "What?" Minorikawa was taken aback. "Consider it compensation for defamation of character." I know what that is. "Come on, get real. It can't be defamation if the article hasn't run yet." "Then consider it in advance on the compensation." This was so nonsensical it made Minorikawa's head hurt. But now at least he knew why Yanagishita had dived after the computer. The thief continued to weave his way through the side streets. His speed didn't diminish in the slightest. Damn it, this guy has too much experience running away. Minorikawa's stamina began to fade, and finally he lost sight of his quarry. But that didn't mean he was ready to give up the search. There were articles on that computer that were right on the verge of completion. Whatever it took, he had to get it back. Yanagishita had said he was going to sell it. Where could he be headed then? Knick-knack. Wait. Endo? He gets tied up at the knick-knack shop though, so let's go to the knick-knack. Probably he was headed to a knick-knack shop. Minorikawa recalled seeing one near the Burning Hammer demo site. He also recalled seeing a poster outside the place that read, "We buy computers at top prices." Oh, I actually did not see that. Damn. The guy had led him on a wild goose chase. That shop was surely where he was going to sell the laptop. Gulping a deep breath, he headed in that direction. "There you are, Yanagishita." Minorikawa burst into the shop on Center Guy, an accusing finger pointing squarely at the thief. "Listen, there's no way I'm buying a computer that doesn't have a power cable. Details, all you sell here is junk anyway." Yanagishita and the shopkeeper had gotten into an argument. Minorikawa recognized the shopkeeper. It was the guy he'd run into on the roadside earlier. "That computer belongs to me," Minorikawa shouted as he marched up to them. "Give it back." Yanagishita clutched the laptop to his chest. "Nuh-uh, I need the money." "Knock it off, you're acting like a child." Minorikawa tried to slap him out of his tantrum, but Yanagishita ducked to avoid the blow. And then, bizarrely, Yanagishita froze. A fierce gleam came to his eyes. He broke into an incomprehensible stammer. "That's it?" Yanagishita snatched up a flyer that his gaze had fixed on. "Iron stomach, huh? This right here is my little bluebird of happiness," he cried. "You know what? You can have this." Yanagishita shoved the laptop into Minorikawa's arms. "And welcome to it, you idiots. I don't need no worthless computer." "You're the idiot, Buster." Minorikawa smacked Yanagishita right across the face. Ouch. Hitting him felt good. He decided to do it again. He drew back his arm to deliver another blow. But then someone else came into the shop. Yanagishita's eyes lit up as they saw who it was. "Oh, my angel! Whatever's my darling Miku doing here?" Miku stood in the doorway on the verge of tears. Mr. Minorikawa, she began, then her voice choked up. Miku? What's the matter? Something wrong? I... Miku drew in close to Minorikawa's side. Huh? Huh? Yamagashita's gaze darted back and forth between Minorikawa and Miku. You two know each other? Sort of. More to the point, is she the girl you said you were in love with? That's right, the one and only Miku! I have her entrance music set as my ringtone. Paying no heed to Yanagashita's excitement, Miku kept her eyes fixed on Minorikawa. I lost. To a girl who knows Aiki Jujutsu. Or Jujutsu. I lost. She buried her face in Minorikawa's chest. Ah. Yanagashita let out a gasp. What's this about? What in the what is this all about? He seemed on the verge of panic. Mr. Minorikawa, I need to learn Aiki Jujutsu. I feel so ashamed. She buried her face even deeper into Minorikawa's chest. That's so unfair. With tears in his eyes, Yanagashita darted out the door. Minorikawa glared after the pathetic fellow as he scampered off. The guy sure knows how to take advantage of a bad situation, I'll give him that, he murmured. I can't let him get away, I'm gonna catch him, fuck him. I'm just glad I got my partner back. Ordinarily, he'd be inclined to pursue Yanagashita and subject him to a tirade, but at the very least, but there is no time for that now. He explained the situation to the shopkeeper, who flashed a sympathetic smile. Ah, is that so? Lucky for you, he screwed up then. Much as I'm happy to do business, I just can't buy a computer that doesn't come with its accessories. So you'd have bought it from him if he had the accessories? Of course. Stolen or not, it's all the same once I've sold it. The shopkeeper chuckled unapologetically. I suppose that's true. Minorikawa laughed along with him. Yeah, all the same. Like hell it is, he roared. The shopkeeper froze like a startled rabbit. I bet everything you have for sale here has been stolen, hasn't it? Don't be ridiculous. I'll warn you up front, there's no use hiding things from me. I've interviewed you after all. I know you. The shopkeeper was getting more and more flustered. Well, I mean... Look, this is just between you and me, okay? Sometimes I go around gathering stuff that people have lost, and I sell it here. But it's not stolen, just repurposed. There's nothing wrong with that, right? The shopkeeper smiled ingratiatingly. Quite the word. You moron! Minorikawa stuck his finger in the man's face. Selling lost property? A potential violation of Article 254 of the Penal Code of Japan regarding embezzlement of lost property, which states, a person who embezzles lost property, drift property, or any other property which belongs to another person and is in no one's possession shall be punished by imprisonment with work for not more than 1 year, a fine of not more than 100,000 yen, or a petty fine. It is? Well, I mean, I guess I sort of figured it might be, sometimes. Well, I'm not the police. I'm more into curiosity than legality. In fact, I find this all pretty fascinating. I mean, what sort of things have you gathered up for sale? Well, let me see. Like this, and that, and that, and that. The man pointed to various items on the shelves. And also this, and that, and that, and that, and that, I guess. Minorikawa's eyes were directed all over the shop. Everything the shopkeeper had pointed out had a hefty price tag. And you're actually able to sell things like this? Minorikawa asked. Sure, I can sell stuff. Earlier today, someone bought a big necklace. I'd listed it for 40,000 yen, but I discounted it down to 30,000. And you can still make a profit even offering discounts? Sure, I mean, it was just something I found lying on the ground after all. Minorikawa looked back at him, and for a moment he laughed as well. Then his face turned hard. This is no laughing matter, he bellowed. You need to stop what you're doing here right away. Otherwise, you're going to find out what it's like to get punished by my pen of justice. I'm so sorry. The shopkeeper bowed repeatedly. Minorikawa glared. The truth was that right now he was so busy he'd have to let this guy slide. Still, this whole asinine affair had eaten up a big chunk of time he didn't have to waste. He didn't have to waste. He was going to have to finish up his copy back at the editing office. I'm surprised he even has time at this rate. Like, laptop in hand, he left the shop only to stop short when a slight figure stepped out in front of him. Mr. Minorikawa! Miku stood there, barring his path. Please, introduce me to a dojo where I can learn Aiki Jujutsu. I'm sorry. I really don't have time for this right now. Minorikawa tried to hurry onward, but she stubbornly refused to let him pass. You introduced me to that other dojo before, remember? I suppose so, now that you mention it. He tried to slip by her on her right-hand side, but she was quick to block him. You're the one who introduced me to the world of martial arts, Mr. Minorikawa. Well, yes. You know you're putting me in a bit of a bind here. Trying to slip by on her left was a no-go, too. She could anticipate his every move. How was Itami with Hitomi? Oh, it was amazing. It was great. It was an unforgettable experience, and this is now the best game ever. I'm glad they had that scene in there. Please just hear me out, Miku said. She was speaking through quiet sobs now. I can't stand to leave things like this. Good enough to it's a game over. That was the true ending, basically, for me. That's all I needed. I don't even know why I'm playing this game anymore, honestly. We can just stop. Yeah, it was cinema. It was peak cinema. She looked Minorikawa right in the eye. Dude, fuck this. We need to go. You have to persevere until you're able to win. This is a good opportunity for you. You can find something to do with yourself that isn't martial arts. Sure, do something else. This is a good opportunity for you. You can find something to do with yourself that isn't martial arts. What? You're the champion at that one pub, right? Maybe now that you're done with that, you should find a more girlish line of work instead. Miku began to tremble. Ow. You jerk! You baka! Miku delivered a blindingly fast slap to Minorikawa's cheek. Why'd you have to put it like that? You're so mean! Bursting into tears, Miku ran off. Hey, Miku! She gave no sign she'd heard him, and didn't turn around. Minorikawa rubbed his cheek. It stung. For once, he actually regretted what he'd said. Maybe he shouldn't have assumed she'd be willing to just give up her hobby. He did in fact know of several Aiki Jujutsu dojos. If only he had the time, he could have introduced her easily enough. But we don't have that. Checking his watch, he saw that he only had 30 minutes and change until 3 or 4 o'clock. There was no more wiggle room at this point. These articles needed to get written and fast. He needed to get back to the editing department. And yet, damn it all to hell, I can't get work done like this. Minorikawa broke into a run. But he didn't run for Heaven Publishing. Oh my god. Instead, he went after Miku. Why? Sure, whatever, dude. Then let's go do something else. Let's go check in with Osawa. Osawa-san, what's he up to? I've never truly trusted anyone, not on a fundamental level. Human beings are a type of organism that I can't get a true handle on through mere surface interactions. And the very fact that I have never trusted anyone else means that, inevitably, no one else has ever trusted me. Aren't the buzzwords funny though? We can't have bot viewers anymore, it's AI viewers. It's completely different. Seribot still gets them though. Listen, I'll take all the AI viewers. I support AI viewers and bot viewers. They're all welcome here. Maybe the root of all of my problems can be traced back to my heart. I welcome all types of viewers. As he waited for Minorikawa to contact him, Osawa thought about his current crisis. Exactly. Osawa thought about his current crisis, assuming Tanaka was behind the kidnapping. Okay, this was actually kind of interesting. I like this. I like this thread. Then he must have accomplices. And these criminals had mistakenly abducted Maria in their attempt to get at the antiviral drug that was in Hitomi's blood. Maria and Hitomi were fraternal twins, but they looked similar enough to be mistaken for identical twins. Still, Tanaka would never confuse the two. The mix-up must have been made by some criminal who didn't know Maria or Hitomi personally. Insisting that Hitomi bring the ransom to the train station was obviously their solution. It had set her up for a second abduction. But piecing together this much of the kidnapper's plan only raised a different question. Why had Tanaka shown him those emails from Hitomi? Wouldn't the criminals want to keep information like that hidden? The more Osawa thought about things, the less they made sense. Just who are my true allies, and who are my foes? Mr. Osawa, a delivery has arrived for you. It's a bomb. It was Kajiwara at the study door. Come in. Kajiwara stepped into the room and handed Osawa a letter-sized envelope. Osawa checked the label. Coming? Or is it Kaming or Coming? I guess it's Coming. The official Aya Kamiki fan club membership application? What? Okay. Right. He had requested the application the day he'd gotten back from overseas. Would you mind opening that? Kajiwara asked apologetically. What for? I'd just like to check the contents of any packages you received today, sir. It's possible the kidnapper may try to make contact with you by mail. Osawa opened the envelope. Inside he found the expected application along with several postcards featuring pictures of the singer. Kajiwara peered pointedly at the postcard images. You must really like her, the detective said. And just what sort of music do you listen? Yeah, that's what he said. And just what sort of music do you listen to, then? Osawa asked, staring at one of the postcards. It was a striking photo that showed off Kamiki's expressive eyes. Let me think. Mostly classical, I suppose. Osawa raised a quizzical eyebrow. Oh no, she's hot. Oh my god, she's blonde? That's so cool. She looks like she's American. Osawa raised a quizzical eyebrow. You know, Kajiwara continued, like Mozart, Wolfgang, Amadeus, Mozart. That's a crazy. His name's fucking Wolfgang. That's sick, dude. Austrian-born music. Yeah. How do you pronounce that? Frédéric Francois Chopin. And the like. He hummed a few bars. Can't say I've ever heard of him. Are you serious? Yeah. How do you? What? Kajiwara looks shocked. I'm familiar with the names, of course. I just never had much of an interest in music. Are you what? You're holding... Okay. Oh, that's such a shame. Would you care to listen to a piece now? Suppose I may as well. No, thank you. No, sure, why not? Let's listen. I suppose I may as well. Now that he brought it up, Osawa was curious to know what sort of music Kajiwara enjoyed. The detective pulled a digital music player out of his pocket. Here you go. Osawa slipped the attached earbuds into his ears. He heard a flow of quiet strings that was soon joined by bold, dramatic horns. As the piece continued, it grew more profound and complex, and Osawa could feel his spirit calming. He took a deep breath, then expelled it through his nostrils. It felt as if the toxic gloom that had filled him was departing with the air. Before he knew it, nearly 10 minutes had passed. What do you think? It's quite nice. The theme of this piece is... Kajiwara paused for a moment and thought, well, it's about how erudition can be boorishness. Actually, did not know that word. Erudition, accumulated knowledge. Okay, Kajiwara, he's cultured. Thank you. If I hadn't met you, I'd never have discovered this piece. He spoke the words unthinkingly with unaccustomed frankness. Was this the power of music, then? I'm very happy to hear that, sir. Osawa gazed at one of the postcards as he let himself be drawn back into the music. Aya was scooping up handfuls of mystical blue sand. The grains... Alright, so his daughters are both fucking in danger, by the way. We're like, what are we doing right now? The grains dripped down from her fingertips. I feel like I could be in this photo here, Osawa muttered. Like I've lived my life, letting so many things slip through my fingers. Kajiwara thought for a moment before responding. I think anyone who's worked hard to accomplish something and focused for a long time on that one thing is susceptible to those kinds of feelings. Accomplishing something means getting results. That's not where my problem is. Osawa removed the headphones and gave back the music player. You told me not to hide things from you, right? Kajiwara nodded silently. Then allow me to speak frankly. Leaning back heavily in his chair, Osawa took another deep, slow breath. Yeah, keep nodding. I'm anxious. So anxious that it's almost crushing me. Given the circumstances, sir, that's completely understand- No! Osawa spoke up before Kajiwara could finish. It's not that. It's not that at all. He shook his head vigorously. The worst should happen to my daughter. How am I going to feel, I wonder? I'm not a man with a wide range of emotions. My heart is always cold, somehow. And the truth is, I've wanted it to be that way. Which is why, if I do lose my daughter, my heart might remain unmoved. I may not even be able to feel a father's sorrow. Ooh, that's what I'm anxious about. He felt his emotions twist inside him in a way that was utterly confusing. For perhaps the first time in his life, he realized how fickle a thing the human heart could be. It's all right, sir. Kajiwara flashed him a carefree smile. What's all right? People who really have cold hearts don't worry about that sort of thing. The detective held out his music player again. Here, I'd like you to have this. From one friend to another. Please, give it another listen if you like. I think it might help you calm your nerves. Osawa took the offered device. He had dared to open up to Kajiwara just a little, and to his own surprise, he felt grateful for it. And how about one of these as well? The detective produced a banana from his pocket. I'm fine, thanks. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Osawa spoke firmly, then his expression softened a little. You've been getting on my nerves all day. Really? And here I thought I'd been doing what I could to soothe your spirits, Mr. Osawa. It's actually been a real long time since I've yelled at anyone quite so much. As the words left his lips, Osawa found himself thinking back to one particular rainy day. It was raining that day. On that rainy day. What is he doing? Maria had been in 5th grade at the time. Osawa was standing in his daughter's room. In his hands, he held the letter she'd left behind. He had happened to glance out the window and saw Maria walking along, soaked from head to toe. In an instant, Osawa was consumed with rage. I can't read that. Maria had left a note. It read, Dad, you only pay attention to Hitomi. You're too busy with work to play with me, so I'm running away from home. Fuck you. Struck by an impulse he didn't quite understand, he ran from the room, heading for the front door. Maria had just gotten back inside. Osawa met her silently in the entryway. Wet strands of hair clung to the girl's forehead as she looked up at her father with a bitter glare. You don't care what happens to me, do you? Impulsively, he slapped her face. Maria's cheek turned red, and tears welled up in her eyes. Osawa's anger transformed abruptly into guilt. He gazed down at the palm of his hand and saw a tiny spot of blood. God damn! He was shocked by the recognition of what he'd just done. And then he was afraid. Was she bleeding before? Did he slap her so hard she bled? Afraid that his daughter could bring such raw emotion out of him and make him do something so thoughtless. Why was there blood in his hands? Is something wrong, Mr. Osawa? Kajiwara was leaning in, looking concerned. Osawa came back into the moment with a start and realized he had buried his face in his hands. No, he muttered, looking up. Just getting angry, yelling at people. I'm not good with that sort of thing. I don't like it. He picked up the music player and fidgeted with the earbuds as he spoke. Well, getting angry and yelling at people, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's just human. It's human to do those kinds of things. I often said that he was cold and mechanical. Her sarcasm only underlined a fact he'd always lived with, that he didn't know how to conduct himself like a human being. If you get angry, you show it, Kajiwara said. If you get sad, you show it. It's human nature to let other people know how we're feeling after all. But what if doing that hurts the other person? That's when you apologize, sir. Apologize. Oh, it's so obvious now. It occurred to Osawa that he'd never tried to tell anyone how he felt before. He'd never felt the need to. And yet, right now, he suddenly felt that if his daughters were to appear before him, he might blurt out everything he'd ever left unsaid. It was a terrifying thought. Mr. Osawa, your daughter's here. Darling. I opened the door and stepped into the room. The detectives are asking for you. It seems there's been a development. We'll be right there. Osawa and Kajiwara hurried out of the room. What is it? Before the news was shared with the Osawas, the members of the investigation team quietly briefed Detective Kajiwara. Osawa and I sat on the sofa on the far side of the room, watching. They could see Kajiwara go pale. He wiped the sweat from his forehead with a handkerchief several times. Bad news, Osawa thought. Mr. Osawa, ma'am, your daughters are dead. Kajiwara shuffled his way over to them at last. We've just gotten word from headquarters. He hesitated ominously. Osawa braced himself. Please, let's hear it. First, about your daughter Hitomi. Kajiwara's expression was grim. The body of a young man named Achi Endo was discovered near Shibuya Station. The name meant nothing to Osawa. In a building not too far from the scene, The detective swallowed. Your daughter Hitomi was found dead. No! The fuck is this song? The world began to shake. Osawa staggered, reeling with sudden I feel like this is not fitting. Nauseating vertigo. No, it's not possible. After that, your daughter Maria, the words blurred together. He could no longer comprehend what he was hearing. Everything was wobbling, shuddering, distorting. Hitomi was dead? Hitomi. This is clown music. At those words, Osawa's whole world went dark, as if someone had just yanked the curtains closed. Okay. Why did she die? Learning of Hitomi's death is the dark end of a chain of events that began with a simple, small decision. That we can never go to Hitomi, no! Someone else merely decided to abide by a little promise. Oh. I think that's Minoru, right? Alright, what is this goofy ass song? Get me out of here. So that's gonna be... Well, this is continuing now, it looks like. What's Maria up to? What's Maria doing? Who am I? The assassin has gone quiet. Sitting on a pile of crates, he seems lost in thought. So I don't dare try to get in the way. All I can do is stand and wait and mull over my own situation. Just who am I? I ask myself again and again. I am. You are? Tama. I am. Tama? Hitomi? Tama Hitomi? None of the above. You're not Hitomi. I guess technically you are Tama. Sure, bucket Tama. Tama? I turn at the sound of an exuberant voice and see Mr. Yanagishita running my way, flailing his arm in a friendly greeting. I swear, this guy could wind up banished to the pits of hell and he'd still give it his all, day in and day out. Oh, thank goodness! It is you, Tama, I knew it! The man with the cane grumbles something incoherent, then holsters his gun and flees the scene. Huh, now you're with some middle-aged guy. You look so sweet and innocent, but I guess you kinda get around, huh? Boss, nice timing. I'm gonna ignore that comment. I do a little fist pump. Whatever he's doing here, I'm glad he drove that off that guy with the gun. What are you so happy about? Yanagishita gives me a puzzled look, but he's promptly distracted by his own excitement. Well, anyway, never mind that. Tama, he shifts down a conspiratorial whisper. Or shifts down to a conspiratorial whisper. You know, I'm such an idiot. I can't believe I was in such a tizzy over some silly scratch card from a magazine. I can tell he has news he's itching to tell me. Did something happen? Well, tee-hee-hee. He brings a hand to his mouth and giggles unsettlingly. I had a great little idea. A great way to strike it rich. I feel like I've heard this from you before. Mr. Yanagishita shakes his head fervently. This time, it's different. We're talking way more digits than before. Now try not to be too surprised, yeah? Spittle flies from his mouth as he rattles on. Or, it's okay to be surprised, actually. In fact, I'm guessing you're definitely gonna be amazed this time, Tama. I can practically see the banknotes dancing in his eyes. Cut to the chase already. What is it you want to tell me? This time, get this, I got a line on 10 million yen. He thrusts his index finger skyward, grinning ear to ear. Surprised now? Yeah, you are. And it doesn't require any capital. It's no risk, high return. Okay. There's a crazy gleam in his eye. Oh, brother. I'm finally gonna get... Whoa, I can't read. I'm finally gonna get to be part of the Billionaires Club. That is so ridiculous, I don't even have a snappy retort for it. Never mind that 10 million obviously wouldn't make him a billionaire. By the way, you haven't seen Chitty, have you? We're gonna need her help to wrap up this 10 million yen. Chitty? No, I haven't run into her since the sales demo. Oh, darn. Well, if you do happen to see her, tell her to get in touch with me. Sure, alright. I still don't know what he's going on about, but there's probably no harm in being helpful. Thank you, Tama. I guess I may as well give you a little hint. A hint? Yeah, a hint. Wanna hear it? Sure. Sure, thank you. Well, then I guess I've got no choice. When you put it that way, I just have to tell you. Mr. Yanagishita clears his throat and proceeds to declaim in an affected tone. When the mighty stomach triumphs over the endless cavalcade of icebergs, the hero shall be blessed with fame and fortune. Huh? What the heck is that supposed to mean? He looks inordinately amused at my confusion. It's part of a legend. You only need to remember that one verse for now. You're going to bear witness to history. I feel like this guy's right out of some kind of story himself. Anyway, thanks for helping me out with the chitty thing. Adios. What does that mean? It's Spanish for goodbye. Oh, the true meaning is closer to the English farewell. In day-to-day interactions, most Spanish speakers use the word ciao. Adios can carry the connotation that you need to do... oh my god. I need to get my fucking glasses. Adios can carry the connotation that you do not expect to see the addressee again, ever again. And then, like a whirlwind, Mr. Yanagishita zooms away, leaving me alone in the alley. Whew! Suddenly I feel totally exhausted. I let out a sigh and drop my eyes, and that's when I notice a notebook on the ground at my feet. Did the assassin drop this? I pick it up and look inside. I don't know what that means. There's a photograph tucked inside the back cover. It shows 3 young people, 2 boys, and a girl. Okay. Well, what do I do now? Do I go to the police? How would I even explain the situation? I can see it now. There's this killer out there, and he's after this person named Tsutomi Osawa, and then the police would just be like, who is that? And who exactly is after her? And then what would I say? Heck, they might not even give me the time of day in the first place. Not only do I not have any idea who Hitomi Osawa is, I know nothing about the guy who's after her except that he walks with a cane. I mean, I can't even tell them who I am. They probably shoo me away without a second thought. What am I supposed to do? I hang my head at a total loss. The necklace around my neck sways idly to and fro. Bruh. Okay. I don't think that changed anything. So what we got here? Let's see. I think that promise is the best thing I can do. Where is he? Like here? No. Here? No. Wait, yes. Here. There's nothing I can do. Here's the cafe. Sorry, Endo. Sorry, Orai. You're just gonna have to let this one slide. I've got Toyama's life on the line here. He opened the door to the cafe with the practice of a regular. Welcome. The waitress only got that far before her face fell. You again? Hey, hurry up and get me a seat. She grinned wickedly. I'm terribly sorry, sir, but we're all full at the moment. He looked around. All of the seats were indeed filled. As you can see, sir. Really now? The waitress's grin widened with triumph. Yes, sir. Fine, I'll just right here. Let me get some power. Jamming his power cable into a nearby outlet, Minorikawa plunked himself right down on the floor and booted up his laptop. The waitress watched him in dismay, then turned to stare vacantly up at the ceiling. Just do whatever you want, bro. Yeah, this looks the same. Sooner or later, someone's like, no, it's me again. Alright. Let this play out. I guess I'll try something different with him too. Hold on, I should see what already changed. Here we go, see? That's different now. That continues as well. Let's do Achi first. Because he died. I want to see what's up with that. He didn't slow his pace until he got to his destination. It's only a bit further. Do you want to walk? I'll be alright. Achi, look out! Looking ahead again, Achi saw that they were bearing down on a young grade school girl, her head hung in dismay. Achi he caught the girl up in his arms, took a quick leap to one side. He managed to avoid crashing into her by taking a tumble himself, but the girl was still definitely a bit shocked. Sorry about that, Achi said. Are you alright? But the girl didn't answer, or even meet Achi's eye. She just looked around as if in a daze. Was she waiting on someone, maybe? Odd kid, Achi thought. I hope she's okay. Once more, Achi and Hitomi set off running. Achi led Hitomi to an old multi-tenant building. They hurried inside and headed up the stairs. Behind the reception window on the second floor sat the custodian, who is Yukinori Kitajima. Okay. He's a game scenario writer. That's pretty cool. Just recently, a certain game was released set in Shibuya, but since he wrote the scenario and emailed it to the game company while he was asleep, he didn't know about it until just the other day. Okay. Hey, wake up, man. Achi gave the window a tap, and the man woke with a start. Huh? Achichi? Don't scare me like that. That's one chi too many. And wow, you sure seem to have a lot of free time on your hands. Yeah, no one's been by to check today. But that's not so bad, right? I mean, I guess it is the surveillance room, but still. The man let out a big yawn. My dad asked me to come down here and check on the security monitors, actually, Achi said. Sorry to bother you when you're busy, Hitomi added with a polite bow. Huh? Who are you? You with Achichi? I'm Hitomi Osawa. It's nice to meet you. Oh ho ho! What, you Achichi's girlfriend? Again, too many cheese there, and that's none of your business. Just let me have the key. Hoping his blush wasn't too obvious, Achi mimed unlocking the door. You want to answer a simple question? Do you want me to hand over the key? Yes, I'm his girl. Oh my god! I'm his girlfriend and we're going to Atami. Hitomi said. We've just started dating. So I'm sure I'll be seeing more of you, sir. She flashed a winning smile. Oh, what a surprise. Never thought a Chi-Chi could land a fine lady like yourself. The surprised custodian held out the key. Good for you, a Chi-Chi. Still one Chi too many there. But yeah, dating. Achi gazed into Hitomi's face, even more surprised than the custodian. The key dangled, swaying to and fro like a pendulum, between Achi and the man behind the counter. Achi, Hitomi said, nudging him in the side with her elbow. Come on. Oh, right. Snapping out of it, Achi took the key and headed up to the next floor. Bro, look at his fucking face. I'm sorry, Hitomi said as they entered the monitoring room. For just saying we were dating like that, I mean. It was a pretty clumsy lie. No, it was just kind of sudden, is all. I was just a bit jittery, I guess. Achi felt his cheeks color again. I mean, I figured I had to say... Oh, she said. I figured I had to say something or he wasn't going to cooperate, Hitomi said. She looked a little embarrassed herself. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make things weird. No, Achi said. Nah, it wasn't weird at all. Actually, it was kind of... He stopped himself there. Now wasn't the time for that sort of conversation. They needed to find that blue minivan. The surveillance camera monitoring room was really just a big office with a single computer. Achi knew it well. So this is the monitoring system, he explained. He switched on the computer. You could see all of downtown Shibuya from this one computer. Hitomi gazed impatiently at the monitor, even though it wasn't showing anything yet. The look of sheer determination on her face held Achi enthralled. You talk about how attractive your sister is, Achi murmured. But as far as I'm concerned, right now, you're the lovely one, Hitomi. Hitomi looked at him, uncertain. I mean, look at the lengths you're going to and the risks you're taking to save your sister, Achi said. I can't bear the thought that something might happen to her. And the last time we were together, I said such horrible things. Plenty of people do bad things without even realizing they're bad, never mind trying to fix it. I'm just doing what I think is right. Yeah, but these days, most people don't do the right thing. Heck, if they did, Shibuya wouldn't be covered in trash like it is. Me? I appreciate it when someone really cares about the things that are important. Doing the right thing as a matter of course, that's very attractive. Achi blushed as he said it, and Hitomi shyly looked away. I think the system's ready. Turning to the computer, Achi hastily changed the subject. This thing's so simple, even I know how to use it. Clicking on the mouse, he brought up a row of 4 windows on the monitor. Each window showed a different view of the Shibuya cityscape. The image quality's not great, but that's because it's being updated on a 2-second delay, I guess. Achi tapped on the keyboard, bringing up shots of different locations. He clicked on one of them in order to enlarge the image. Maybe we really can find that minivan with this. Hitomi was practically glued to the screen. My dad's the one who designed the security system. Your dad must be pretty amazing. Well, he graduated at the top of his class at Tokyo Denko University. It's a prestigious national university founded over a century ago. Achi's father is an attendee. AI program known as Body. The computer's asleep, different personalities emerge, which have an impact on various normal thought processes, forming a network of more human-like thought patterns as a result. That's not worrying at all. That's great. We need that in the world. He always said he could have had a career in computer engineering, but he took over the electronics shop so that he could marry my mother instead. That's such a sweet story. Did they run the store together then? Achi shook his head. She's dead. No, my mother died when I was 4. Oh, I'm sorry. Hitomi sounded even sadder than Achi. Well, anyway, never mind that. Here, look. The seedy-looking weirdo they'd run into at Gigo was on the screen. Huh? That guy again. Said weirdo was running all out, a laptop computer under one arm. He was being chased by a man in a long coat. That guy sure gets chased around a lot, huh? Achi said. When the weirdo slipped out of view, Achi switched to another camera. The new view showed the weirdo running again. By hopping from camera to camera, they could track him wherever he went. So long as we have these cameras, Achi said, this guy has nowhere to run. Nowhere to run, huh? The moment he said those words, they struck an odd chord in his mind. He remembered their repeated run-ins with the man with the cane, how the assassin had seemed to always know where to find them. Achi, please, Hitomi urged. Stop messing around and let's look for the minivan. No, hold on. There's something I'm curious about. Sorry, there's just something I'm curious about. Achi continued to track the seedy-looking man. The weirdo rushed into a knick-knack shop on Center Guy soon after the man with the coat appeared and followed him into the shop. Aha, looks like he snatched that guy's computer. Moments later, the weirdo came rushing back out of the shop and sprinted away again. He wove through the narrow alleyways with cat-like alacrity. I actually do know that word. Achi did his best to keep tabs on him, but the man managed to give him the slip. Wow, Hitomi said. She too had been watching closely. I'm kind of impressed. Mind if I keep at it? Achi asked. Sure. He continued scanning the camera images, trying to locate the guy again. At this point, even Hitomi was invested in the quest to find the fugitive. But minutes passed and they didn't spot him. Achi was on the verge of giving up. Oh, that's me. Hitomi took out her cell phone. It's an email from Mr. Tana... Found him! Achi's shout cut Hitomi off. The guy was in a back alley off Center... There we go, off a Center Guy. He was talking with someone. Huh? What's that? Achi blinked a few times as he leaned in closer to the screen. Finally. Hitomi? You have to come look at this. That's my sister. Hitomi grinned with excitement. For real? I think so. What's she doing in a place like that? And why is she talking to that guy? I'm not sure. The monitor showed a cheerful little scene. Looks like they're having fun. Guess since they're twins, they're both into older guys. Achi felt his mood start to sour. I have to ask, are you sure she was kidnapped? Yes, at least I sure thought so, and so did the police. Then what's this all about? Should we go and see for ourselves? Guess so. Oh, what about that email? Achi pointed at Hitomi's cell phone. Shouldn't you take a look at that? My sister comes first. That place where she is it far from here? No, not particularly. Achi and Hitomi rushed from the building, heading for the alley where Maria was talking to the computer thief, and so we will go there now. Boom. Suddenly I hear someone call out, Maria! Huh? I spin around to see a young girl running toward me. Oh shit, what the fuck? How is... Oh, thank God I waited here in this alley all day. Now I can shoot her in the back of the head. She kind of looks like me. Behind her are two men. One of them is the man with the cane. He raises his gun and aims it at her. Oh no, he's gonna shoot her. The instant I realize what he's doing, I'm lunging toward him. He shifts his grip on the gun and clubs me in the head. I stagger against the wall? Wait, what? Trying to keep my feet, but my legs buckle under me and I crumple on the spot. Who hit her? I don't even know why I tried to protect this girl. My body just moved on its own. Maybe it was just a reflexive impulse to help someone in danger? But, wait, who the fuck hit her? Am I the sort of person who'd risk her life to protect some complete stranger? What the fuck? Okay, what the... Why? If you know what causes Hitomi to show up here, you can probably avoid this untimely end. What? Let's get back then. Wait, I'm really what? Who hit her? Because the guy with the gun was on the other side, right? I don't know. Was it somebody else? Well, now you can see it from their perspective. It wasn't long before they were closing in on their destination, but as they headed down a narrow side street, a familiar figure suddenly appeared to bar their way. Uh-oh, it's him. Gun in hand, the man with the cane slowly ambled towards them. Achi and Hitomi bolted down a nearby alley. Taking another turn, they reached the alley they'd seen on the cameras. Maria! Hitomi rushed over to her sister, but Maria just stood staring at Hitomi in silence as if she couldn't process what was going on. Meanwhile, the assassin was still in pursuit. He had turned the corner behind them and was steadily drawing nearer. He pointed his gun at Hitomi's head. Come on, hurry, Achi urged. He tried to lead the two girls away, hoping to escape further down the alley. But instead, Maria charged boldly at the man with the cane. Oh, that's what she did. The assassin was caught off guard by the unexpected counterattack, but he reacted quickly, clubbing the girl in the head with the grip of his pistol. Maria! Hitomi shrieked. She stared in horror as her sister collapsed in a heap on the ground. Then Hitomi's eyes rolled back in her head and she fainted into Achi's arms. Hitomi, hey! But the shock had overwhelmed her. She was out cold. Slowly, the assassin lifted his gun again, aiming for Achi and Hitomi. If he'd only had Hitomi to protect, Achi might have been able to pick her up and get away. But he couldn't just leave her sister here. He knew, with the chilling certainty of despair, that he could never save them both. Fucking hell. Why? Sisters in the alley. This would have never happened if Achi hadn't gotten distracted with tracking that. Are you joking? Fine. Minivan. I guess we're not going to get Maria now. Achi, stop fucking around, man. Alright, let's go find that stupid van. That doesn't matter because she's not even in there. She's not even in there. Alright, my bad. Achi switched over to a different camera. He continued switching views, scanning the streets of Shibuya, but there was no sign of a blue minivan anywhere. Still, they remained glued to the monitor. Oh, that's me. Hitomi took out her cell phone. It's an email from Mr. Tanaka. Oh, okay. It was about time for my mood to take a dip, Achi thought. What? Hitomi blurted. She looked up from her phone. Achi, Mr. Tanaka found the minivan. He's bullshitting you. He what? What does it say? What does he say? Read it to me. Okay. I ran after it, but wound up losing sight of it. It was heading toward Jinan. That's what he says. What about your sister? Bum ba ba dum. Damn it. Was she inside? He doesn't say. Achi switched over to an array of surveillance cameras near Jinan. The few seconds the transition took felt agonizingly slow. Finally, 4 new images popped up. Achi quickly enlarged one of them. Ah! Hitomi let out a tiny gasp. There on the monitor was the blue minivan. There was no doubt about it. It's rigged, bro. It's a bomb. There's a bomb in that bitch. Achi and Hitomi rushed from the building, speeding towards Jinan in an all-out run. Run, Achi. Run, Hitomi. Run, other guys looking for Miku. Let's do a little jump. Running along Koendori in pursuit of Miku, Minorikawa heard a cell phone ringtone coming from somewhere nearby. That's not funny. He fucking died. Suddenly, a massive fiery blast knocked him from his feet. A deafening roar set his head throbbing. What was that? What's going on? He lay in a daze on the ground, trying to wrap his mind around what had just happened. He smelled the foul scent of burning rubber. Then came a sound of quick footsteps rushing out to him. Mr. Minorikawa! A voice called out to him as if across an impossible distance. Mr. Minorikawa! Was that Miku? He forced his eyes open and saw Miku looking anxiously down at him. Mr. Minorikawa! Miku, those things I said earlier. Sumanai, I went too far. What are you talking about? That's not important right now. Miku choked back a gasp, and Minorikawa realized he had blood leaking from his mouth. His body wouldn't move, and his mind was reeling. What happened? Tell me. Miku's voice was dry and hoarse. Oh, she said that. There was a minivan. It exploded. Exploded? A minivan exploded on a city street? That sounded like a terrorist act. His reeling mind drifted back to the attempted bioterrorist attack on Kasumigaseki 2 years earlier. An unoccupied minivan had exploded outside an MPD station, and afterward, a device meant to scatter a dangerous biological agent had been discovered near the subway. With sudden clarity, Minorikawa recalled what Osawa had said earlier. The power balance of the entire world might be at stake here. Could there be some sort of connection between Osawa's warning and this explosion? There was. There had to be. Minorikawa's journalistic intuition told him it must be true. Something terrible was underway here in Shibuya. Police! A man in a suit announced. He crouched beside Minorikawa and gently lifted his head and torso. Hang in there, buddy. Stay with us. The change of position allowed Minorikawa to clear his airway, and he sucked in a deep breath. But as he did, an intense pain shot through his lungs. I think I might be done for. Whatever his intuition might be telling him, it didn't look like he'd ever be able to write about it. But if he couldn't get his words onto the page, the least he could do was tell someone else. With his last act, maybe he could still accomplish something. He strained to get a few words out. Osawa. Kenji Osawa. The power balance of the entire world. As his voice failed, he heard the sound of ambulance sirens approaching. Paramedics began frantically unloading stretchers. Turning his head, he saw a number of other people who'd been injured in the explosion laid out on the roadside. Amongst them were a woman and a child. Emergency workers bearing a stretcher came over to Minorikawa. Forget about me. I'm beyond helping. See to the others instead. Minorikawa shouted inwardly, but no one heard. Bad end. Great. Premonition of disaster. A few simple words can change his fate. Someone who shouts something at 15:30 needs to change what it is they shout. If Minorikawa hears something that grabs his attention, he may not get too close to the explosion. Okay. 15:30. It must be here, right? Maybe it's here? I don't know. Let's keep going here. Achi and Hitomi rushed from the building. They are running. Neither spoke, they simply dashed along in silence. Achi felt as if they'd been running a marathon and the finish line had finally come into view. They hooked left at the station and darted past the Seibu department store. Aha! Achi pointed as he came to a stop. The blue minivan was still there, parked by the curb along the slight's hilly incline. Leaving Achi behind, Hitomi started rushing up the hill. Alarm bells started going off in Achi's mind. Someone from the kidnapping crew was in that van. It was dangerous to approach carelessly. Oh. Stay back! Don't get too close! Achi shouted. But she didn't appear to hear his cries. The hope of rescuing her sister had driven all else from her mind. Achi started to run after her. Hitomi had reached the vehicle already. She brought her face close to one of its windows, but the tinted glass obscured the view inside. Hitomi circled around to the minivan's other side. Achi saw her grasping at the door. She slipped out of his view for just a moment. And there it goes. Yeah, I'm sure she's fine. There was a thunderous explosion, and a gout of flame tore the roof off the minivan like it was made of aluminum foil. Hitomi! Horrified, Achi charged through roiling smoke, searching for Hitomi. He saw two figures sprawled on the street, several meters from the van. Hitomi and Kanan. Oh! Hitomi, wake up! Achi cradled her in his arms, and her eyes drifted open faintly. Are you okay? Are you hurt? Hitomi didn't appear to understand him. Her only response was a blank, dazed look. There was a small patch of red on her face. Achi wiped it gently away with a finger. He saw no further signs of bleeding. She must have been splattered by someone else's blood, Kanan's. As far as he could tell, she hadn't been gravely injured. Achi let out a sigh of relief. Hitomi, is she alright? Kanan stirred on the ground. Her clothes were scorched in places and she was bleeding from her head. Kanan, did you save her? Is she alright? Oh, sorry. Is she alright? Yeah, what about her sister? Kanan didn't respond. No, it can't be. Achi went to look inside the van. Amidst the smoke and flames, he could make out the outline of a body. What happened here? Achi had to look away. Get Hitomi out of here. Hurry. If those guys show back up. Kanan's face twisted up with pain. Alright. Achi settled Hitomi carefully in his arms. Wait, I need to tell you something. Kanan's pained gasp called him back. Alpharad. What the fuck? Alphard. What? Huh? Alphard. The name of the mastermind. I'm sure it'll come up again if you keep pursuing this. But if you value your life, don't get involved with Alphard any further. Now go! Okay. And thanks. With Hitomi in his arms, Achi hurried from the scene. He wasn't sure where he was headed. He just wanted to get away. Wherever that meant. He carried her past the crowd of onlookers that had swiftly begun to assemble. The flames of the burning van rose ever higher, roaring up toward the heavens. Okay, well that's good. To be continued. We got his block done. Cool. That's all good then. This one isn't, for some reason. So somebody at 1530 can say something. There's a jump. Huh. Like what? It's gotta be them. Unless I change something here. I'll have to see. Which one was this? Depending on what they show. That's gotta be Achi. But that leads to a bad end here. Do I change it to Hitomi instead? Yeah, I think so. We'll come back to that. Let's do this first. Feel exhausted, little aside, drop my eyes. I noticed a notebook on the ground at my feet. Did the assassin drop this to pick it up on the side? There's a photograph. Alright, it's all the same. Okay. Well, sure. Let's go back over here. Change this. Hey, Toby, wait! But she didn't hear him. Yeah, there we go. Perfecto. Hey, Toby, wait! As he ran along Koendori after Miku, Minorukawa heard someone shout out a familiar name. Hitomi. It's a pretty common name. Ordinarily, he wouldn't have given it a second thought, but he remembered that one of the Miss Midoriyama winners was named Hitomi Osawa. That made him curious. A moment later, he heard a cell phone ringtone. He immediately recognized it as an Ayakamiki song. His reporter's instincts tingled. He stepped back to take a look around, and one young woman caught his eye almost immediately. He couldn't assume that any pretty girl he saw was Miss Midoriyama. After all, it'd be a little too convenient if he just so happened to run into her now. Still, it didn't cost him anything to ask. Are you Hitomi Osawa? He might as well at least check. But to his own surprise, he hesitated in embarrassment. He'd never been too embarrassed to ask a question before. He didn't get a chance to contemplate that realization. And then, yep. And then he blew up. Massive fiery blast knocked him from his feet. A deafening roar set his head throbbing. What was that? What's going on? He lay in a daze on the ground, trying to wrap his mind around what had just happened. Behind him, there was a minivan fiercely ablaze. A minivan. An explosion. The first thing to pop into his mind was the attempted bioterrorist attack on Kasumi Gaseki 2 years earlier. An unoccupied minivan had exploded outside the MPD station, and afterward, a device meant to scatter a dangerous biological agent had been discovered near the subway. In the end, no one had been harmed, but there were rumors that the government had paid a terrorist organization a hefty sum to keep it that way. Right now, Minorukawa was a stone's throw from the Shibuya precinct. Could this be a repeat of the Kasumi Gaseki attack? The entire area was in an uproar. People were running around in a panic. Minorukawa could see several injured people lying on the ground unmoving, and yet despite the gravity of the situation, numerous onlookers were casually taking photos with their cell phones. Minorukawa got to his feet, then went to try to get everyone away from the scene of the explosion. Hey, you guys, get back! There could be another bomb! Minorukawa looked around as he pushed back the crowd. He was getting the strong whiff of a scoop. He needed to write his copy ASAP, but he couldn't just turn his back on this situation now. 2 young men were strolling toward the burning vehicle. They had the look of juvenile delinquents. Whoa, what the heck? Is this for real? Ain't this dangerous? Like, for serious? The pair tried to find an optimal vantage point. Hey! Minorukawa snapped. Don't get any closer. He spread his arms wide to hold them back. The young men came to a halt, but otherwise paid him no heed. Oh, this is bad. This is for real bad. Think this is a terrorist thing? Yo, get out your phone! Come on. But like, you think this is a terrorist thing? Dude, shut up. Just hurry up and call Susumu. The taller of the two, dressed in red, was ordering around his blue-clad companion. Huh? The boy in blue huffed. Man, do it yourself. Say what now? Bitch, this ain't no time to get yourself all worked up. Minorukawa stood there, arms held wide, getting more and more annoyed at their back and forth. Yo, just make the call, man. The young fellow in red scowled. He wasn't going to back down. Huh? Yo, what difference does it make if I do it or you do it? It doesn't make any difference, so it doesn't matter if you do it. Yeah, right, it don't matter. So in that case, you do it. Look, I'm telling you to just make the damn call. I'm telling you to just make it your damn self. Oh, enough of this already. Minorukawa opened his mouth to tell them off, but then the young man in red spoke again. Dude, the goods from over at Endo Electronics are gone. You gotta let Susumu know. The name Endo Electronics caught Minorukawa's attention. Huh? Yeah, but that ain't all... But ain't that all that Achi dude's fault for getting all huffy at us? I mean, it was Kiryu who told us to go find the Endo storehouse. Yeah, but Susumu don't like dealing in stolen goods. Says it dirties the SOS name. Oh, what a coincidence. Looked like these two were SOS members. Hey, Minorikawa called out. You two! He finally succeeded in getting their attention. Where's this Susumu fellow? I'd like to talk to him. He had no idea who Susumu was, having only heard the name just now. Still, from the way these two were talking, it seemed clear he held some position of leadership. You think I'd tell you if I knew? The fellow in red snarled. Minorikawa kept his composure. Listen, do you guys know the Tenryu Gumi? What? The Tenryu Gumi was a Yakuza syndicate that operated in Shibuya. These street kids were sure to be familiar with the name, if nothing else. I may not look it, but I'm in pretty tight with the Tenryu Gumi. And maybe you two don't know it, but Susumu's been showing up at their office a lot lately. Susumu's dealing with the Yakuza? Well, for real? Sweet! The two punks bought it completely. What's the SOS using as their hangout these days? I've got a little something to discuss with Susumu. Right now it's this bar called Inferno. Minorikawa made a mental note of the name. Right, and Inferno is where exactly? The two young men suddenly looked distinctly uncomfortable. Uh-oh. Later. Yeah, I got a thing I gotta do, too. Backing away, they took off through the crowd. Hey, wait up! I need to know where Inferno is! But the pair had already vanished. Ambulances began arriving at the scene and paramedics rushed out to tend to the wounded. Excuse me, would you mind answering a few questions? Minorikawa turned to see a man in a suit approach him, flashing his badge. Let's do it. Oh, never mind. So, a detective with questions for him, huh? How about you answer a few questions for me? Was this an accident or an attack? We still don't know many details. Let me rephrase that for you. This is a major incident, Minorikawa exclaimed. Huh? The detective looked pretty flummoxed. I've been around the block a few times and I know all your police PR lingo. And when you start talking about the details, that is 100% indicative of a major incident. Brushing aside Minorikawa's remark, the detective tried another question. Did you happen to notice anything unusual prior to the explosion? Unusual? Minorikawa thought back to the moments before the minivan blew up. Now that you mention it, I think I heard a cell phone ringtone. The detective tilted his head. A ringtone? No, never mind. Forget that. There's no way the ringtone on someone's phone would be audible through all that. Minorikawa struck the thought from his own mind as he said it. In all likelihood, he'd associated the ringtone and the explosion simply because one had happened right before the other. Kano. A large-statued Caucasian man had called out to the detective. Evidently, the detective's name was Kano. Thank you for cooperation, he said with a bow. Then he ran over to the foreigner. Mr. Minorikawa! Minorikawa turned at a female voice behind him. He found Miku standing there. She looked like she'd been crying. Miku. About earlier. He trailed off, searching for an apology. It's okay, that doesn't matter right now. Miku looked around the scene. Minorikawa followed her gaze. Something big went down here, he said. I know, she exclaimed, the explosion. I saw it happen with my own eyes. What? Miku looked around nervously. Are you alright? He asked her. You're not hurt, are you? I'm okay. My ears are still ringing a bit, is all. Good. So, what did you see at the time of the explosion? Miku assumed a thoughtful expression. There was this girl who was running toward the minivan, and then I think I saw this other Middle Eastern girl suddenly make a dive for her, and then the van just exploded. Wait, hold on, Minorikawa said. So if I'm getting this right, it sounds like this Middle Eastern girl saved the girl who was running up to the van? Miku nodded. Just then, Minorikawa's phone chimed. He'd received an email. It was from Chiaki. Mr. Mino, you still work on your copy? He checked his watch. At this point, the 4 o'clock deadline was barely 20 minutes away. Nonetheless, he decided to stay at the bomb scene. He could definitely smell a scoop here. He was sure of it. Even if he couldn't get his 6 pages done by 4, landing a major scoop should be enough to persuade the loan company. Minorikawa jotted his phone number down and handed it to Miku. I'll make things up to you, he said. Give me a call later. Miku took the scrap of paper, puzzled. If you're looking for an Aiki Jujutsu dojo, I know a few. At that, her face lit up. Minorikawa decided to process the scene for clues. As he wandered around, he caught sight of Detective Kano and his Caucasian colleague heading down an alley. What's that I smell? Something pretty damn fishy. If they were slipping away for a private conversation, maybe there was some way he could listen in. Minorikawa hurried into one of the buildings that bordered the alley. He looked around and found a public bathroom upstairs on the alley side of the building. Hoping beyond hope, he slipped up to the bathroom window. Voices outside. He held his breath and listened. Those international criminals you mentioned? Kano's words were faint, but he could make them out. Minorikawa did a little fist pump. Correct. Roughly 8 hours ago, they infected Maria Osawa with the Uwa virus. Then they let her loose somewhere in Shibuya. Hold on. By Uwa, you mean... Discussions involved some terms Minorikawa wasn't familiar with. He focused all of his mental energy on what the two were saying. This is a killer virus with a 100% mortality rate once it takes hold. 100%? Minorikawa muttered to himself. The shot caused him to unclench the fist he didn't realize he'd made. This wasn't just an interesting conversation, it was monumental. It has an incubation period of 12 hours, and another 4 hours Maria Osawa will go symptomatic. After that, she'll begin spreading the virus through the city. It's capable of airborne transmission. If you don't administer Kenji Osawa's antiviral before she develops symptoms, yes? Everyone in Shibuya is going to die. Minorikawa felt goosebumps rise all over his body. If they were talking about a virus and the Kenji Osawa, they could only mean that Kenji Osawa. He recalled what Osawa had said earlier about the power balance of the world being at stake. There was no doubt about it. This was a tremendous scoop. Well, then we need to find Maria Osawa and get the antiviral to her as soon as possible. Just calm down, there's more to the story that... Oh, it's starting to leak out! The door swung open loudly and someone came barging into the bathroom. Oh! It was Yanagishita. Why him again? And why here of all places? Oh, I'm leaking here! Yanagishita was on the verge of hysterics. His voice must have been audible outside. Kano and his companion went to take their discussion elsewhere. And they'd just been getting to the good part. You son of a bitch! Enraged, and Minorikawa grabbed Yanagishita and tossed him to the floor. I'm leaking! Shut your mouth! He put all of his strength into an ankle hold. Ooh, I don't care. And gave it a good twist. Oh, Yanagishita wailed. Oh! Minorikawa left the idiot blubbering in the bathroom and hurried out of the building. He hadn't heard the whole discussion, but he had a scoop on his hands anyway. This would be a tremendous score for Heaven Publishing, enough to let the company rebuild. He was certain of it. And if I'm the one saying it, it's gotta be true. As he ran along, Minorikawa tried to plan his next steps. First, he had to get back to the editing office. He'd explain the situation to the people from the loan company. Then he'd go find that paperwork for Osawa and have Chiaki check his copy. And then, after that... Okay, so he still had a lot of things he needed to do. He swatted himself on both cheeks to get himself psyched up. His phone rang. That's a typo. His phone range. It was Chiaki. Mr. Mino, something terrible has happened. Chiaki's voice was a broken yelp. Oh, calm down. Over in Koendori, this minivan exploded. Yeah, I'm well aware. Thanks to that, I got a big scoop that... Chiaki cut him off. Just now, I got a call from Mr. Toyama's daughter, Hana. This time, Minorikawa waited for her to finish. He had a sinking feeling. She said that Mr. Toyama was in there. Oh my god, it was a suicide. What? Minorikawa's knees buckled. Tell me you're joking. No, I mean, the van explosion is all over the news. And Hana was in tears on the phone and... Mr. Mino? Mr. Mino, are you still there? Toyama had killed himself? Minorikawa felt the energy drained from his body. What am I fighting for? Really? I mean, I understand he was fucked, but... No way. He had to be set up or something. After all that, wow. Alright, Let's keep going. Over here. We're scrambling. We're scrambling through Shibuya. Then Kano saw flames. This hadn't been an accident. Someone had set off an explosion. The Shibuya precinct wasn't too far from here. Kano recalled the attempted bioterrorism attack on Kasumigaseki. That incident had begun with a van exploding outside of the Tokyo MPD station. Already a large crowd of onlookers was gathering. Shouts rose up as they took in the scene. What's going on? What happened? That car's on fire! Kano called into XQ, then quickly slipped around to the back of the burning vehicle. It was a minivan. Peering at the flaming chassis, he could see that there was someone inside, or chassis. Oh no, could that be Hitomi? Once they have their hands on the antiviral, the criminals would have no further use for Hitomi Osawa. Already the body had been charred to ash. At this point, it was hardly recognizable as human anymore. Okay, dude, like, let me go back and get my jump point. Sorry. Where was it? Over here, right? Several people were on the ground nearby, evidently injured by the explosion. A girl. I don't need that. And a hoodie was crouched among them, doing her best to tend to the injuries. Kano recognized her as the girl he talked to earlier during the traffic jam. Police! He announced. Get back. Let me handle this. The girl was visibly relieved. Help her, she said. She pointed to a figure lying on the sidewalk a short distance from the burning minivan. It was a Middle Eastern girl. She appeared to be unconscious. I think she got hurt rescuing another girl, about college age, the girl in the hoodie said. College-age girl. That might be Hitomi. What happened to the girl she saved? Kano asked. The Good Samaritan looked around. Huh? Where'd she go? The rescuee had disappeared. This girl here, the girl in the hoodie gestured toward the fallen girl. I can't believe how fast she was. She spoke with a hint of awe. The way she moved to get that other girl, she was on a level way beyond mine. Kano took another look at the injured girl. Her figure looked rather delicate. It was hard to believe she was capable of great feats of athleticism. He started toward her, but Stanley stepped ahead of him. Leave this one to me, he said. His expression was unusually stern, even for him. Do you know her? Kano asked. The American didn't answer as he checked the girl's pulse and then her pupils. Hey, Stanley. Don't you have other things you should be doing? Stanley snapped. Fine then. Kano decided to collect some eyewitness accounts. Patrol cars and ambulances arrived at the scene in a steady stream. Once the vehicle fire was under control, things gradually began to calm down. Several officers worked to cover the area around the burned minivan with a blue tarp. Kano got his questioning underway, starting by flashing his badge at a man near the front of the crowd. Excuse me, do you mind answering a few questions? The man puffed himself up. How about you interview Mike? Well, okay, we've been through this song and dance. There's an attack. We don't know any details. Let me rephrase that for you. This is a major incident. They're on the block. I picked the wrong guy to try and talk to. Stifling his frustration, Kano continued his questioning. Did you notice anything unusual? Cell phone, ringtone. It nagged at Kano. He jotted down a note on his pad. Kano, and Stanley, perfect timing. Thank you for your cooperation, Kano told the man. Then he hurried on his way. Stanley stepped in close enough to whisper. Who was that guy? An eyewitness to the explosion, apparently. Did he have any info? He said he heard a cell phone ringtone at the time of the explosion. Not sure if that's significant, though. Stanley stood silently for a moment, thinking. What about that girl? Kano asked. Has she woken up? No. I'm going to drive her to the hospital. Huh? Why do that yourself? Just look around, Stanley said. He cast his eyes out over the scene. There were still many injured people lying on the roadside. It seemed that the authorities hadn't sent enough ambulances. But isn't your car back in Mario Macho? Kano asked. Under those circumstances, I think it makes sense for me to go back for it, Stanley replied coolly. Besides, I have a few things I'd like to ask her. Kano was curious. You do? He asked. Stanley's cell rang. Yes, Stanley answered the phone in English. As he listened, his demeanor changed. The blood drained from his face, and his hand began to tremble slightly as it gripped the phone. Kano had never seen him this shaken up. You got it, Stanley said at last. He hung up the phone and let out a sigh. What is it? Kano asked. Stanley headed into an alley without responding. Kano hurried after him. Once they were out of earshot of the crowd, Stanley finally spoke. That call right now is from Gordon, my superior. We call him Commissioner Gordon. He broke off there, and for a long while was silent. He appeared to be struggling with some strong emotion. Decide not to press this. No, tell me. What is it? If you're going to tell me something, then tell me. All right, Stanley said at last. I can trust you with this. Wow, never thought I'd hear you say you trust me, Kano teased. But Stanley's expression remained dead serious. We were contacted on our end by the mastermind of this plot. Those international criminals you mentioned? Correct. Roughly 8 hours ago. They infected Maria Osawa with the Uwa virus. Then they let her loose somewhere in Shibuya. Hold on. By Uwa you mean? Kano thought back to his earlier conversation with Stanley. These criminals were trying to get their hands on a new drug. An antiviral. Yeah, the Uwu virus. Uwa, yeah. An antiviral drug developed by Kenji Osawa that had been shown to be effective against the Uwu virus. Stanley hesitated before continuing. This is the killer virus with a 100% mortality rate once it takes hold. Kenji Osawa's antiviral is our only means of combating it. A mortality rate of 100%? It has an incubation period of 12 hours. In another 4 hours, Maria Osawa will go symptomatic. No wonder they were typing with dongers in the email. They had the Uwu virus. Apparently it takes 12 hours to set in. So I guess that's telling me how much longer I have to go. Because I think it's like 4 o'clock right now in the game. And it started at like, what, 10 or something? After that, she'll begin spreading the virus through the city. It's capable of airborne transmission. Bro, we're not gonna... Yeah. Stanley nodded. If we don't administer Kenji Osawa's antiviral before she develops symptoms... Yes? Kano's voice was trembling now. Stanley spoke with complete certainty. Everyone in Shibuya is going to die. Well, then we need to find Maria Osawa and get the antiviral to her as soon as possible, Kano said, panicking. Stanley remained cool. Just calm down, there's more to the story than... Stanley was interrupted by a strange sound from the upper floors of a nearby building. Unsure of what it was, the two men hurriedly relocated. They paused when they came to a vacant lot. The place was deserted, no need to worry about being overheard here. You said there was more to the story? Kano prompted. The antiviral in question is stored in Kenji Osawa's laboratory. The lab is protected by a sophisticated security system, and apparently the storage area where the drug is kept requires fingerprint authentication from both Osawa and Tanaka. What? But Tanaka's... Kano couldn't help but gasp. Tanaka was currently a fugitive, the prime suspect in the kidnapping case. There was no chance of getting any fingerprint authorization from him at this stage. Is there any other way to get in? Kano asked. The door can also be unlocked via password in place of the fingerprint scanner, but we still need to know what Tanaka chose for his password. No. In any event, Stanley said, it's essential that we track down and secure Maria. But, he went on, his voice grave, even if we get Maria to safety, the mastermind is now in possession of the Uwa virus. If they want to, they can unleash a bioterrorist attack on Shibuya at any time. To put it bluntly, the lives of every man, woman, and child in the city are in their hands. Kano felt a pause of fear, deep enough to give him vertigo. He slowly tilted his head back. What the fuck? Tilted back his head. That's a really weird way to put it. He slowly tilted his back. Okay, no, that's a typo. I don't have fucking, I was gonna say dementia, dyslexia. He slowly tilted his head. You know what they're trying to say. And gazed at the sky, vast and blue as always. His neck, his back. Yes. His pussy and his crack, we know. There had to be tens of thousands of people in Shibuya right now. Rumi and Shizuo were among them. And they might all be dead within a day. It felt so unreal. Kano's mind almost couldn't process it. With an effort of will, he shook himself out of his daze. Now was no time to waver. We have to try, he said. In the next 4 hours, we need to find Maria Osawa and figure out a way to stop this mastermind and the Uwa virus. The words were as much for himself as they were for his companion. Let's do this, Stanley. We might not always see eye to eye, but together, I feel like you and I can find a way. But Stanley averted his gaze. My job here is simply to apprehend the mastermind. Kano felt the resurgence of his earlier anger at Stanley. Once again, he was putting his duties above human life. Sumanai, I'm sorry. Stanley's voice was a quiet mutter. You should get away from Shibuya as soon as possible, Kano. Kano hadn't imagined that the American would ever be worried for him. I would never do that with my duties. I appreciate the warning, he said, but I'm seeing this through to the end. This isn't the sort of thing you can solve with just an effort of willpower. Even so, giving up isn't the Japanese detective way. Stanley let out a nasal chuckle. Back to that again, are we? Same to you. Kano managed a tiny chuckle of his own. Listen, Stanley went on after a moment, this is just between you and me. The mastermind behind this kidnapping case is an arms dealer who goes by the nickname Alphard, or by the name Alphard. What's an arms dealer? Alphard? The attempted bioterrorist attack on Kasumigaseki, a hotel bombing in Chicago. Alphard had a hand in all of them. What do you know about this criminal? Kano asked. Stanley's expression grew even darker. He was my father. Alphard's signature is extremely meticulous planning, but I don't mean meticulous in the same way you or I might normally think of it. Their plans are perfectly imperfect. Do you get what I mean? Kano shook his head. Alphard deliberately engineers accidents to make things complicated and unpredictable. It's difficult to get a good grasp of what's going on when the situation seems to be falling apart. People tend to not consider that coincidental mishaps might be anything but. In the end, they don't even realize they were playing right into the mastermind's hands all along. Kano could hear the intensity in Stanley's voice. I'm afraid that's all I can say. Stanley held out his right hand. See you around, Kano. If we're still alive. If we're still alive. Kano let that sink in for a moment. Nah, I'll shake your hand after we finish this case. With a slight smile, Stanley withdrew his hand. Then the two bumped fists and said, All right, we'll meet again, Kano. Let's do it for us. Okay, you must make me say that. No, Osawa, stop. Let's do it for Osawa is crazy. All right, we'll meet again, Kano. I'm sure of it. Yeah, see you then. No sooner had Stanley departed than Kuze's voice came in over the wireless. Attention, all units! I am sure there's plenty of reasonable guys named Osama in the world. I'm sure there is. But in this instance, we know what you mean. Attention all units! As of now, further investigation on the kidnapping case is suspended. What? The director's voice sounded strangely cold. I repeat. As of now, further investigation on the kidnapping case is suspended. Wait, hold on, sir. Kano shouted. What is it, Kano? Could you let us know why? We've received information that Maria Osawa has been infected with an unknown virus and has been released somewhere in Shibuya. That meshed up with what Stanley had said earlier. An anti-bioterrorism security force will probably be deployed in Shibuya. I know it, okay. This is no longer a simple kidnapping case. Our part in this is finished. No, it's not. We haven't managed to resolve anything. Kano, I assure you, everyone else feels the same as you do. Kano's voice had a cautionary tone. They're still performing the autopsy on the body found in the blue minivan that exploded. I'll let you know once we have a positive ID. Kuze out. Director! But the line had already gone dead. Left at a loss, Kano gazed out at the cityscape. The sight of the bombed vehicle had calmed down briefly, but now that the news networks had begun reporting, the herd of onlookers was growing. There was also a sizable crowd gathered outside of a large home electronics store. The large LCD televisions on display were showing a press conference being held by the governor of Tokyo. My part in this is over. I have to find... No. Keep going. I might learn something new. Kano might learn something new about the case. He decided to watch the broadcast. Working closely with the administration, we are keeping a careful eye on the situation as it develops. The governor's expression was solemn as he spoke. The moment he finished his statement, the reporters bombarded him with questions. This seems similar to the bioterrorist attack on Kasumigaseki 2 years ago. Is there any possible connection? What countermeasures do we have in the event that Shibuya is in the target of bioterrorism? The governor was visibly disconcerted. If this does turn out to be a bioterrorist attack, we will establish emergency shelters with a large-scale quarantine station at Yoyogi Park. However, there are still many details that remain unknown. The politician was clearly struggling to maintain his composure. Can you comment on the rumors we're hearing that Shibuya might be blockaded off? Don't be ridiculous, the governor barked. What outlet are you with? Are you trying to start a panic when we don't even know all the details? Besides, it wouldn't even be possible to blockade the whole of Shibuya. The press conference continued, the governor and the reporters locked in a belligerent back and forth. Kano left the electronics store and headed for the cafe where Rumi and Shizuo were waiting. He had to tell them both to get far away from Shibuya. The cafe seemed quiet when Kano arrived. Shizuo was sitting alone. Kano scanned the establishment but didn't see Rumi anywhere. One of the staff greeted him. Welcome. Just one, sir? No, I'm meeting someone, actually. Of course, sir. The hostess smiled and then went on her way. Shizuo was glaring at him. Kano walked over to him and bowed deeply. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir. I'm Shinya Kano. You look like even more of a knuckle dragger than I thought. Shizuo maintained his appraising stare. Rumi had something she needed to do, so she stepped away for a while, he said after a long moment. Kano sat down across from him. There was a laptop computer. What is that? Right now, the laptop is in sleep mode, and there's nothing on the monitor, but just before Kano came in, Shizuo was browsing an internet forum. He takes his user handle from a nickname for the apples he grows on his own farm, which are pretty little things, and nearly as sweet as honey. Okay. The waitress came by to take Kano's order, so he asked her for an iced coffee. What are you using the computer for? Kano asked. I'm on the internet. Shizuo's voice was low and gruff. This cafe has internet connection? May as well start with a little small talk. So what? Again, Shizuo glared at Kano. I just... The words wouldn't come. No, actually, this is no time to be making idle chit-chat. If they got infected with the virus, Rumi and Shizuo might die. Look, please, you need to leave Shibuya right away. Shizuo's face contorted with confusion. What are you talking about? Why? Kano wasn't sure if he should tell the truth or not. He was strictly prohibited from discussing a case with anyone outside the department. As a former policeman himself, Shizuo ought to understand full well the secrecy an investigation required, but it wasn't like he'd just up and leave town without a good reason. Please listen, Kano said. Do I just tell him? If I'm not straight with him, he's just gonna be like, well, I don't see any reason I should go, fuck you. But if I say this, he might, like, blurt it out or something. I'll risk it. Listen, there's a risk of... What's that? What I mean is, risk of, Shizuo pounded his fist on the table. Spit it out! Kano just couldn't say it. It didn't matter who he was talking to, he couldn't make himself leak the details of an ongoing investigation. Besides, there was no guarantee a bioterrorist attack would actually happen. If they could just find and secure Maria Osawa before she went symptomatic. Does this have something to do with the case you're working? Huh? You telling me to leave Shibuya? Does that have something to do with the case, or something to do with your case? Yes, Kano admitted. So why don't you run off with Rumi then? Shizuo's tone was frank. Well, I mean, when Kano didn't have an answer handy, Shizuo let out a single heavy sigh. Is your work important to you? He asked. Kano hesitated. Is it more important than Rumi? Well, again, Shizuo cut Kano off as he waffled over how to answer. Me, I used to put my work before my family. There was no question in my mind that combating society's ills and solving cases was worth any price. And because of that, I did some pretty reckless things. Almost wound up dead more than once. Shizuo paused, a forlorn look in his eyes. My wife did nothing but worry about me, so much that I didn't even realize when she'd worried herself sick. I was so caught up in my work that I wasn't even there for her when she finally passed away. It was all so very absurd of me. The waitress came by and set Kano's iced coffee on the table. It sat there, untouched, until Shizuo looked at it pointedly. With a tiny nod, Kano brought the cup to his lips. The bittersweet liquid was a balm to his parched throat. I told Rumi the same story, Shizuo continued, but I didn't tell her how absurd it was. I told her that her father only did what he had to do. He took a sip from his glass of water. Rumi, she's very much like her mother used to be. Their personalities are almost identical, and I don't want her to suffer the same way my wife did. Shizuo's fist clenched in his lap. What was it that made you become a detective in the first place? He asked. Well, at first I got the job because I thought it would make Rumi happy, and then I guess also because I thought it'd make you like me, sir. It was the truth, but Shizuo simply chuckled. If your goal is to get me to like you, you may as well give up now. I'm sorry, sir, Kano said. I can't do that. Are you this stubborn around Rumi? Shizuo grumbled. I love your daughter, sir. I want to keep her safe, to make her happy. And why is that? Whenever I think about her, I just feel so amazing. I'm sure that you or anyone can empathize with that. Everyone has someone they want to protect who makes them feel that good. It's an admirable thing wanting to be a detective and protect the happiness of the people, but that doesn't mean you need to ignore your own happiness in the process. What you say may be true, sir. Earlier today, my partner was stabbed. And today's his wife's birthday. Shizuo arched his brow. Is he going to make it? We're not sure yet. Last I knew, he was in critical condition. This is why I keep saying that the life of a detective is... Shizuo's words trailed off into a lamenting murmur. Even so, Kano was unmoved. Dick dictum, number 1. Never lose sight of what you're supposed to protect. Ever. What's that? Something that a senior detective I admire very much said. It's the fundamental guiding principle I've stuck to as a detective, but I was wrong about the real meaning behind it. My partner was stabbed. There are people I want to rescue. So much has happened, and now I finally understand what those words mean. When you see someone in trouble, you help them. That's not something a good detective does. That's something a good person does. Kano took a good, long look at Shizuo's face. He had surprised himself finding the words to speak his feelings so clearly. and he wondered what effect it had on the older man. I'm sure that, from your perspective as my future father-in-law, my being a detective means that I'm putting my life on the line, but that's not entirely true. I can only be myself. This is the kind of person I am. I care about helping people. Even if I were a baker, or a brewer, or a bookseller, I'd still act the same way. You're being ridiculous. A baker and a detective don't assume anywhere near the same risks. I suppose that's true, but what if I burn my fingy? Kano fussed with his hair sheepishly. Shizuo grumbled. I think I see what kind of man you are now. He sounded oddly defeated. Which is why now is no time to just futz around. Kano sat up straighter at Shizuo's weighty tone. A detective needs more than just passion. A detective can't solve all his problems with sheer determination alone, but at the same time, he needs more than just the ability to coldly assess a situation. He needs the conviction to stick to a case when it might otherwise seem prudent to give up. There was something new in Shizuo's expression now, and a gleam in his eyes that hadn't been there before. Kano almost felt like he was being sermonized to by a senior officer. You got that? You need a cool mind, but a fiery spirit. A detective without both of those is worth nothing. Do you mind if I write that down in my notebook here? Look, Shizuo said, sounding suddenly embarrassed. Aren't you in a hurry? Don't you have to get back to your case? Yes, and sir, please, I need you and your daughter to leave Shibuya right away. Yeah, I hear you. Kanjo conjured up Rumi's face in his mind. We still haven't seen her, by the way. There was a chance he might never see her again. He forced the thought away as best he could. By the way, if I may ask, Shizuo said, what was it about Rumi that made you fall in love with her? Well, sir, she's hot as fuck. What? Where's this coming from all of a sudden? Was it her looks? No, it wasn't just that. Kano found himself tongue-tied again. I mean, she is pretty cute, even if this is my... Oh, she is pretty cute, even if this is my own daughter I'm talking about. Shizuo... Please don't get weird. Shizuo shocked him by grinning from ear to ear. Well, yeah, she sure is, Kano replied, but it's more than just that. She's also very sweet and kind-hearted. Ah, she is, isn't she? Yeah, she really is. For the first time, Kano and Shizuo smiled at each other. You're a man who lets his emotion show in his face, Shizuo said. And for a detective, that's... Actually, that's not so bad. Thank you, sir, Kano said. He bowed to Shizuo as he stood up from his seat. Never lose sight of what you're supposed to protect, huh? I like that. Wise words indeed. Kano turned to look back, and then bowed deeply to Shizuo one last time. We got Daddy's approval, hooray! The ability to coldly assess a situation, Kano knew what he needed to do. There was one thing that was nagging him. No matter how hard he thought about it, it still didn't add up. Why would Tateno let Al-Karuwan go free? He needed to get back to the precinct and get the truth from Al-Karuwan firsthand. As he walked along, he considered what he did know about the facts of the case. Just what sort of plan had Alfard put into motion here? It seemed that Tanaka and Osawa held the keys to understanding it. There had been relay handoffs of the phony attach case, a relay that Tanaka had been complicit in. Then there was Hitomi missing, carrying the antiviral. Osawa... Can I jump now or no? Had confirmed that himself. Kano was starting to form a vague picture of what Alfard was up to. If the mastermind's goal was to acquire the antiviral, then obtaining the cooperation of Osawa and Tanaka was vital to that plan. After all, their fingerprint verification was required to physically access the drug. In order to overcome that hurdle, Alfard had presumably managed to win over Tanaka somehow, and had then kidnapped Maria Osawa to provide leverage against her father. No doubt that was how they'd gotten Hitomi to take the antiviral with her to Hachiko. While the police were distracted by following the attach case, Alfard would then take the antiviral from Hitomi. That was the general plan as far as Kano could surmise. Just then a call from Kuze came in over the wireless. We've identified the body found inside the blown-up minivan. Kano's hand tingled as it gripped the wireless. Mamoru Tanaka, male, 40 years old. Oh, wow. An employee of Okoshi Pharmaceutical, positive ID was obtained from the subject's personal belongings. What? Kano gasped. If Tanaka was dead, it would now be almost impossible to access the antiviral drug in the laboratory. At this point, the only antiviral they had any chance of obtaining was whatever Hitomi was carrying. Kano thought back to what Stanley had said earlier. You need to get Maria to safety. The mastermind is in possession of the Uwa virus. If they want to, they can unleash a bioterrorist attack on Shibuya at any time. To put it bluntly, the lives of every man, woman, and child in the city are in their hands. No. A chill ran down Kano's spine. If someone did release the Uwa virus, there would be no way to stop it from spreading. If Alphard really was planning a bioterror attack, Shibuya would well and truly become a city of the dead. He couldn't help but feel that the whole department was playing right into Alphard's hands. Kano staggered, physically stricken by the realization of just how terrifying a foe they were up against. To be continued. Alright, we got one more. So do Osama's. Oh, wait, no, we got Maria's too. Wait, how are we gonna get her? Maybe through here? I'm only human. It's only human, man. I've been getting into coconut. I've never really been a coconut water guy, but like, I've been getting it a lot recently. It's so good. I don't know if it's worth $5 a bottle though, but I fuck with it. I like coconuts. I like coconuts. Alright, come on, bro. Come on. Yep. Nani? Why? Where? Jump here? Guess so. But I want to. Why'd they stop it there? That's weird. Alright, I should jump now. I don't know why it wouldn't let me before, but there you go. Because I already reached that point. Yeah, this is the same scene. We're on the couch. Oh, but I guess Maria, or not Maria, Hitomi's not dead now. So what are they gonna tell me? Don't tell me she's dead again. How? Mr. Osawa, ma'am. Got your shuffle. Got word from headquarters. Okay, that's not really helping you right now. What? Please, let's hear it. Do you think that Osawa has been laden with a heavy... I do think so, yes. I think Osawa has been laden with a heavy burden. And look at his face. That's the man with a bunch of burdens on his mind. Your daughter Maria is safe. Okay, good. What? Osawa felt an unexpected surge of relief. We're just like zooming in on fucking Kajiwara's ass. You mean it? The case has been solved? Added I. Poor guy. For a moment they almost... How far is this gonna go? Okay, there it stopped. For a moment they almost sounded like a happily married couple. The only place we can look. It was only the stern look on Kajiwara's face that gave them pause. However, as of yet, we do not have her in custody. I'm not sure I understand, Osawa said. You don't know she's alive, but you don't have her? How? Deep furrows appeared in Kajiwara's forehead. Or appeared. I'm sorry, sir. The information we've received from up top is complicated. We've confirmed that she was able to escape confinement. It's just... The detective gave every appearance of holding something back. If there's something you need to tell us, then just say it, Osawa told him. It would seem that Maria has been infected with a virus. Infected? Osawa felt as if a taloned claw had just clutched his heart. It's not one I've ever heard of before, but apparently it's called the Uwa virus. Dun dun dun! Osawa's vision went dark. He felt as if he'd plunged into a black void of despair. Darling, I asked raspily. She didn't need to put her fears into words. Osawa felt them just as plainly in his own gut. You're an expert on virology, aren't you, Mr. Osawa? Kajiwara said. Are you familiar with this Uwa virus? Osawa held up a hand to forestall further questions. There was no time for that. How many hours ago was she infected? He demanded. I wasn't told that much. Is that important to know, sir? Depending on when Maria was infected, we may or may not still be... Osawa trailed off abruptly as the reality of the situation struck home. This wasn't the same as when Hitomi had been infected. Right now, there was no way of getting Tanaka's cooperation, which meant there was no way of accessing the antiviral storage. In other words, getting the cure to Maria would be impossible. Osawa's head swam. Detective Kajiwara, I beg of you. Your people need to catch Tanaka as soon as possible. I can't share the details, but if you don't, something terrible is going to happen. Just then, Kajiwara's cell phone rang. He picked up quickly. What did you say? The detective's shout shattered the anxious silence that had fallen. Eyes shuddered visibly at the outburst. Kajiwara nodded sharply, still listening. More creases formed in his forehead. Understood. I'll let them know. He hung up. All eyes were on him. That was headquarters. Osawa swallowed the lump in his throat. He could feel himself quaking all over. A minivan we believe belonged to the syndicate exploded near Jinan in Shibuya. A body was found amongst the burning wreckage of the vehicle. Who was it? Osawa interjected. Tell me. Please don't let it be Maria. Please don't let it be Hitomi. Kajiwara took a breath before speaking. We've conclusively identified the remains as Mr. Tanaka's. No! The cry was visceral, almost bird-like. Osawa looked around in surprise. It was I. It's not true! You're lying! Her shrill screams reverberated through the room. Osawa felt like he wanted to scream too. With Tanaka dead, there was no way to get the antiviral. We're fucked. Which meant that Maria was going to die. And before the antiviral is in that necklace she bought. Somehow. Dun dun dun. Wait, how the... Rest in pepperoni. How the fuck are we gonna get her... What's Maria gonna do? Does anybody have a jump for Maria? Guess I'll die. No, we need... we need her. Where is this? Here? It's got... Yeah, here we go. It's gotta be this. I thought I tried this already. This game confuses me sometimes. So it's Janan... What's your sister? Eventually, I muster up the energy to start walking around town, heading nowhere in particular. The billboard outside of a department store displays a poster of some female musician. She must be pretty popular because lots of passersby stop to take a good look. Including... Oh my god, it's her! It's actually Aya Kamiki! I catch sight of little Hana in front of the billboard. She's showing something to a woman there, some colorful sheets of paper. The woman looks a lot like the musician in the poster. Moreover, I have the feeling I've seen her someplace before. Where could I have seen her? Man, having amnesia is really a pain in the ass. I have no way of knowing whether I've forgotten something or had no memory of it in the first place. The woman looks through the papers Hana held out to her, nodding approvingly at each one, and I can see her murmur with admiration. Hana! I wave as I scamper on over to her. As I do, the woman abruptly hurries off. She's selling her drawings. Hey, we meet again, I say. Hana just gives me a bored look. Who was that just now, I ask. I don't know. Hana quickly gathers up her belongings and starts walking briskly away. Oh, hey, wait up, I call out. The girl ignores me. She's moving at a jog now, heading from Spanish Hill towards Koendori. As she steps out onto Koendori, she trips and falls down hard. The contents of her bag spill out on the road. Oh, whoops. Catching up to her, I gather up some of the fallen pages. What's this? There are poems. Oh, they're poems. Copies of a prose poem titled The False Monsoon. It details the wavering emotions of an adolescent girl. Also, in a clever twist, if the text is read horizontally instead of vertically, it tells about a father's worries over his only daughter, who is now of marriageable age. Hana's genius will soon be discovered by Ayaka Miki, and she will go on to become a popular songwriter. Why are they spoiling the ending? Okay. Cool. A look of embarrassment crosses Hana's face, and she snatches the pages out of my hands. Don't touch those. Those are for sale. For sale? I'm selling poems that I wrote. Oh wow, that's incredible. She looks surprised by the compliment. Incredible? My friends at school said they were dumb. That's not true. I only saw a little just now, but I thought it was a really good poem. You're just saying that. I've been out here in Shibuya for weeks trying to sell these, but the only person who's bought one was that lady just now. Hana lets out a mournful sigh. Well, what are you out here selling poems for anyway? I thought maybe it'd help pay back our debts. Huh? Okay, that's not something I'd expect to hear from a little kid. My dad's in real deep, she continues. The topic makes me think of Mr. Yanagashita. Guess today's my day for meeting people mired in debt. And I'm only in elementary school, so I can't get a part-time job. Japan's Labor Standards Act prohibits the hiring of children under the age of 15 for certain jobs within... Oh, no, for certain jobs within the entertainment industry, employers can obtain permission from labor standards. Okay. I'm impressed she's so brave. She's maybe a little hard to approach, but she is just a kid after all. She's so brave, I just want to give her a hug. Oh, Hana! I hear a strange wailing call from behind me. Startled, I turn around to see Mr. Toyama standing there, tears streaming from his eyes. Hana! I'm so sorry. I had no idea you were trying so hard to... Toyama rushes up to the girl. It's quite the emotional father-daughter reunion. Or at least that's how it looks until Hana slaps her father across the face with her bundle of papers. What was that for? Don't you give me that. I'm sick of all this running around. She delivers several more well-placed smacks with her little craft project. Okay, Toyama says at last. I know you're upset, but I have to ask you for just one thing. Then we can see about getting through the day, yeah? Okay, but just one. I can't help but find this ordinary interaction kind of charming. Or ornery. You two get along really well, don't you, I say. Yep, nope. The two give simultaneous contradictory replies. Then Hana suddenly starts to walk off, with Toyama tottering after her. It's such a weird little sight that I can't help but laugh. Well, later then. Oh my god. Okay, she's good, she's fine. And then she actually did die. Maria. No. Oh, that was close. Further along Koendori, I came across a car on the roadside that's spectacularly aflame. A group of onlookers surrounds it, in a confused uproar. It almost seems unreal, like I'm looking at a set for a TV show or something. I stand there, staring into the flames. Huh? What's that? I can see something. My memories. Ugh, it's coming back to me. The raging heat makes the air shimmer. The scent of dry sand fills my nose. A gust of searing wind tugs at my hair. Where am I? Decaying roads, decaying houses, a decaying city. And the people who live there. People who live. People who live. People who live. There's someone by my side. Someone is with me watching all of this. It's a girl. The person with me is a girl, slightly younger than me. She says something to me. Ana Ismi. I don't know what that means. Cat's Cradle. That's my voice now. Cat's Cradle? Whose voice was that? What's going on? Who am I talking to? Yeah, Cat's Cradle. I'm showing someone how to do a Cat's Cradle with string. But who? Who am I showing how to do a Cat's Cradle? Kanan. Yeah? The word Kanan echoes in my head. Kanan? I utter the name aloud. The images floating through my mind are beginning to break up and vanish, but I feel like, for a brief moment at least, I'd caught hold of the edges of some of my lost memories. That's right, Kanan. As soon as I say it, I'm filled with a powerful sense of duty. There's something I'm responsible for, something that I needed to do. And if I don't, this Kanan person is going to be in grave danger. Calm down, just calm down. I'm pleading with myself now, fighting the impulse to take off running. If I did, where would I go? I have no idea what my destination or my goal even is. Please, please remember something. Please, please. I gaze out at the flames, practically praying now. Don't move. A voice hisses in my ear, and I feel something hard press against my back. I don't need to turn around to recognize whose voice it is. I thought you said you didn't have any business with... I did a little thinking, says the man with the cane slowly. About how I might lure out Hitomi Osawa, see? I'm going to use you as bait. Dun dun dun. Those should be all of them, right? I think we cleared that block. Yep. A baby. All right, close to 3. Close to 3 hours. I'm not even gonna go in there. As every time I start, I'm gonna forget everything. To be continued in Shibuya 429. I think there actually is a second game. I don't... Unless the ending is just so amazing, I really doubt I'll ever play it. But this is seemingly a cult classic. But yeah, I would continue on any other night, but not tonight. I can't. I simply can't. I was gonna stream tomorrow, but it's not gonna happen. I'm gonna try to... I want to finish this game. I really do. Sometime soon. Next week, I think I'm gonna try to do either 3 streams or go extra long on one of them. We'll finish it in July. No, I don't. That's the problem. I want it to be done before July. I think Tuesday's a good day for me. Let me check. Definitely gonna do Saturday like I usually do. Yeah, Tuesday's a great day. I'm gonna try to do a longer one on Tuesday and Saturday. So we can get through this shit. This isn't bad, it's just... Yeah, I am. Except, the problem is it's not gonna be... I'm not gonna be able to get a Japanese copy of it, right? Because Clouded Leopard, they only do Chinese and Korean. I just realized. And I'm sure a fan translation will probably be done around the same time an actual localization comes out. But I still want to try the game so bad. I really do. It looks so fun. I don't know if I'll stream it because it'll be... No one can read or understand what's going on. But we'll see. Like I said, Tuesday, I'm going to go for a little bit longer. And then Saturday, I should be done with this. Hopefully. Oh, are they? I didn't know. Hold on. That is... Oh, you're right. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, never mind then. Fuck it. Fuck it then. I have very limited knowledge in Japanese, but I have a friend who can speak it. So I think she'll help me with that. Or I'll just vibe out. Just rock with it. I'm sure I don't need to read the story that closely. Tokyo Xanadu's story wasn't that crazy. I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't, like, amazing. That wasn't the reason I was playing it. Just play it and have no idea what's going on. It's only a life sim. True. I'm really looking forward to the dungeons. I love how they're using, like, the 2D exploration like it's the original Xanadu. I think that's really cool. And the music sounds really sick, too. A lot of the battle songs I've heard. It does look really easy, though, which is what I'm concerned about. That's kind of how Tokyo Xanadu was for me. That game got really brain dead after a while. Like, it was fun at first, but it really wasn't that challenging after a while. I'm hoping Kyoto might have something going on, especially with all these new systems that they added. You excited for the dungeon stuff? As long as Falcom actually knows what they're doing with the game design. Yeah. Okay, well, when you put it like that, I'm sure it'll be fine. How long since they made non-JRPG dungeons? Fuck. I could not tell you, bro. It's probably been a few years, a few decades even. I think it'll be, from what I've seen, it looks fun, but we'll see. We'll see when it actually comes out. But yeah, I need this game done. This game's cool. This was the game recommended to me as well, and I appreciate the recommendation. But it's definitely tough to stream, is the problem. I'm sure if I played this on my own, I would have gotten through it a lot quicker. But Tuesday we're gonna go a little bit longer, and then Saturday it should be done. That's cool. Unironically, yeah, actually, I got it on sale. It's like $5, so I got that. I want to try Senki Zero speedrun at one point, and I want to get through the Half-Life games as well. Because in September, I'm going to be playing Fire Emblem like non-stop. That's all I'm going to be doing. So I want to get prepared for that. I'm going to try out Kyoto Xanadu as well. It's definitely a ride. We'll have to see. We will have to look outside and see. But thank you to everyone who stopped by tonight. Pork Bob and Meep Miner. And anybody else that might have stopped by. And anybody that might see this in the future. We're going to scramble. And the Omega... also, Omega Koopa, thank you for stopping by. You were here? When were you here? Well, I'm leaving now. But thank you for being here at the end. Yeah, we're going to scramble again on Tuesday. And then we're going to have the finale scramble on Saturday. But until then, peace out.